Hello, everybody, and welcome to the party. Thank you for coming back and joining us for episode 8 of A Call to Rising. And thank you for coming back after our 1-week hiatus. Hey, I've just made the players even. You can hear them now, too. I did not forget to hit the button, guys. As always, we appreciate you being here, and if you would like to learn about some of our other awesome shows, such as last night we had Dungeon Dark Days, and today we had Starting Campaign, including our great and wonderful Tarson. I'm trying to make sure I'm doing the pointy fingers in the correct direction. Yes, I am. For Death of a Thanat, the Quagoth game?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I pronounced the word correctly. But if you want to learn about many of our awesome, great shows, please check out our Discord. You can find information about that below. And if you want up-to-date information about when shows are happening, like one-shots, check out our Twitter, also information below. As always, we also want to thank all of our great sponsors. We have the amazing Mistress of Maps, Devin Rue, at rueinc.com. We have tabletoploot.com, where you can get tabletop loot, like millions of dice. You want to tell us about...
Just like 3 sets. Oops.
It happens to the best of us. And our more recent sponsor is So Nerdware at sonerdware.com, where you can still use the promo code WELCOME to get 10% off your purchase for hoodies and t-shirts and mouse pads and a whole bunch of other things that all can have logos of all of our various shows and stuff on. It's still kind of mind-blowing to think about that.
Just a little.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Yeah.
A step down from Critical Role. We're getting there.
Well, to be fair, we're not nearly as popular as Critical Role yet.
Hey, join the Welcome to the Party group and let us become more popular than Critical Role. Take that, Matthew Mercer. I'm calling you out, DM to DM. Here it goes.
To be fair, I would totally be in the game with Matthew.
Oh, so would I.
I would just love to see Gary and Matt just battle, DM battle it out.
Oh dear. That would be interesting and terrifying, and I'm going to hide behind a piece of paper now. While we start up, I can't do that, the microphone's in the way. Here we go. While we start up our game for today, everybody. So, thank you for joining. All right, when last we left off our intrepid adventurers, it has been a little bit of a break after the party went out to the Mallard farm, helped to take care of their blight problem that had been killing some of their cows. Mark, now I got the character's name right, Mark not dying in the process, although coming very close.
Close.
They decided to take a little bit of a rest in the sense that they were returning to town to take care of a little bit of unfinished business there. Vanessa and Twitch, they had some questions still about some of the other local farms that were having issues. Meanwhile, Isabella and Mark had unfinished business with a wine merchant that hadn't paid their gambling debts. Thus, as quickly as the party was together, they again split. And we start with the party back together, eating lunch at the Fallen Oak before they once again split up. So, what do you guys want to do while you're back together before you split up?
Again.
We love you.
Oh, I know.
We really do.
I know. I can feel the love.
We're keeping a really ethical pattern here.
At least you do come back, but I want to make sure that was there anything else you guys wanted to do while you were together, or also just to kind of finalize what your plans were for coming up. Some of the things Rendessa had found out was about several of the other farms that were hit up by gnolls or had, through data analytics, basically, a mathematical higher amount of deaths of livestock marked in their tax records.
Mm-hmm. I'm going over my notes again.
Yep. Meanwhile, Isabella and Mark had sent a letter to Pearson Winsome about his wine business, as far as you can tell, requesting a meeting for later in that day. Or evening, as the case would actually be.
Did we get our papers?
Yes, you got your papers.
Yes, we have our
I was
papers.
gonna
That-
say,
That's
Isabella
why we're
was-
wandering around in the upscale district.
That also
Uh-huh.
have a open spot for a party name once it is decided.
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
we decided, didn't we?
I have no
Yes.
idea. There was so much conversation about that at the end of last game. I
It-
don't remember.
Until the moment it is set on stream, I don't believe that has been decided. So I will let you guys, when you come to it, tell me what it is.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. I thought we had
Yeah.
decided.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it.
So
Okay.
while you're
Oh, yeah,
together,
that's right.
sitting around at the table, there was already much practice between many of you being like, I'm going to practice forging the papers ourselves anyway. But Giles told you that you were able to just pen it in and have no issues. What is the party name?
So who wants to say it?
Mark.
The party name is ACTR Spearborn.
ACTR Spearborn? Spearborn.
Yes,
Okay.
because we all came to know each other because of being put in stupid beer
Spear
holes.
hole.
That's how the party was born, basically, into what they are now.
But whatever does ACTR stand for?
We have it
It's interesting. It's somewhere around.
No, I figured this out.
It's from our
the
names.
A from Isabella, it's the C from Mark, the T from Twitch, and the R from Renessa.
All right. You spend a little bit of your time eating because probably Isabella or Mark do the actual writing, as it was Renessa and Twitch who were eating, as you two, Mark and Isabella, ate at the fancier place. That it is added onto your papers. Long live the ACTR Spearborn.
Ooh.
All right.
Yeah.
What are your plans?
Besides the obvious to split up.
Besides, if you're splitting up right now, that's fine. It is a little bit of time before your meeting with Pearson Winsome. And
I can't remember.
you
Give me a
said
moment.
you said evening you were going to, and my brain is remembering 7 or 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Although I
8,
don't,
9.
yeah. Although I don't feel that I could be off on that, but it's still close enough.
I know sometime during this, I went, like, probably around 5. I had to be back there so I could do my ritual to find familiar.
Ah,
I know
and
that's where we ended off.
that
Oh,
is
yeah.
right. We were supposed to have a whole conversation about that, and I don't think we ever did. So we're having it. We're doing it live.
Okay.
We're back at the tavern, right?
You are at the Fallen Oak, which is not your Red Udder, and not the fancy Fox and Hen. It was the middle one, kind of the inn that was just nearest by the tax records place.
Yeah, I was trying to remember if we ended the last session of all of us heading back to the tavern or if we're still sitting in that tavern because of food.
We kind of left
That makes
you
sense.
sitting there, but
Okay. I didn't have that written down, so I wanted to double check.
all right. So right before we get to your ritual, because it will take an hour if I recall correctly.
Yes.
Twitch and Renessa. Twitch has disappeared for the moment, but Renessa, what were your plans for the rest of this evening?
I have no fucking clue.
That's always a good answer.
She
Isabella,
got the information she wanted. She wants to talk to farmers, but figures that probably is not best to do right now. Ez has no idea what to do. Isabella would like to what?
Teach Renessa about taxes.
Probably not gonna stick.
Oh, that was right. There was also a lesson on bribery.
Yeah.
She forgot already.
Because I remember the last statement from Renessa was, "What are taxes?"
Which already explained.
It's a puppy.
It's a tiny
puppy.
Yes,
Puppy.
I named a floof.
It's an adorable floof. I'm going to pet it.
Twitch, is there anything you wanted to do this evening in that mindset that you're losing half your party, and I want to make sure you guys are together to do things if you want to do things together?
Renessa has no ideas, so if you have any ideas, she's fine tagging along. Nothing.
All right.
All my notes are everywhere, and I can't find the one thing I'm looking for.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
All right. Isabella, are you doing this in a public area? Are you doing this privately?
Actually, go back to the room.
Okay.
The one we did for the night, so that way it's all concealed.
So you're up at the Fox and Hen. Are you kicking Mark out of the room or keeping him there?
Mark's fine.
Okay.
I trust Mark. It's just more of, I don't want to do this in the middle of the square going, and here's the symbol, and I'm suddenly doing arcane stuff in front of everybody.
Well, you get up to your rooms really for the first time, and you see that they do have a certain level of opulence to them. That because of the way that you were requesting your room, that there is one bed. That it is still like a very lush bed, that it is comfortable. Knowing Isabella, she bounces on it for a few moments. It's got a nice to it.
I'm not just like sitting on the edge and bouncing, like on top of it, doing the whole little kid jump on the bed a little.
You like hit one of the pillows once or twice with it, and like a small down feather comes out of it.
Okay.
But yes, it portrays a level of luxury that is a nice change to where you've been staying the past 2 nights.
I'll take a pillow and kind of hit Mark with it and be like, reminds you of home, doesn't it?
Just deadpan a little bit.
Down.
Takes a pillow. Whack!
I just sitting up on the edge of the bed talking to him. Next thing I know, whap! Laying down, giggling.
Now it's home. Okay.
I'll just let out a big sigh and then start my hour-long ritual.
Mark, are you doing anything during this time? You have an hour.
Meditating. Putting notes together.
Seems appropriate.
Things I'd like to do to the kingdom, stuff like that.
I'm sure it'll be an interesting list.
It will be very interesting.
Yeah, meanwhile, Isabella lays out some of the incense all around, starts doing a little bit of lighting, a little bit of chanting along the way. You see, after an hour of this deep, immense concentration, that all of a sudden there's a bright flash of light, and at the center, for a quick moment, there's this little, like, tear that occurs just in the middle of space, and what appears?
A hawk.
Just takes a few steps out, ruffles its feathers, turns its head, looks up at you.
Starts scratching behind the head.
It, like, goes up, leans into it a little bit, does that little clucking with its tongue thing.
Just up on the shoulder at this point.
Flits up and lands.
And then I'll start looking for through the room, seeing if there's any extra windows. So that way, once he's in here, he's going to have his conversation with us before he can leave.
It has one exit. It has one window that you see that has some curtains there, so that way there is a level of privacy. Let's just see really quick. Oh, wrong thing. It is facing out onto one of the main streets. You ended up on that side.
Okay.
Make an investigation to see if you can find anything else.
Ooh, first roll.
First roll
First
of the
roll of the
night.
night.
What?
16?
Not bad.
Yeah, you look through. You don't see anything else that is particularly like, and there are no other escape hatches. You looking around, you could see like you could fit pretty easily under the bed. That like, if you wanted to, that would be a hiding place. But there's nothing with furniture. There's no trapdoors. There's no other way really out.
Okay. Just kind of relax until it's time.
Yeah,
Time
and
to come in.
yeah, and you did invite him to your location.
Yes, we said send him to. In the note, we said send him to our room. So we
I'm also going to order some food to be brought up.
Okay. You do remember this place a little bit pricey.
Okay.
I'm just reminding.
Not entire meal, just, some snacks, cheese, wine.
Some appetizers.
Yeah.
Charcuterie board.
Tea. That sort of thing.
Let's see. Yeah. If you're just trying to get like small stuff and not like a fine meal deal. 5 silver.
Okay. Yeah. Just some small snacky things.
You have a small board of like a couple cheeses, some breads, apples that are cut and already sliced for you. And you guys just wait for a little bit. And around what you believe was the appropriate time, maybe just a tad bit late that you're just starting to get an edge on things, you hear, "Excuse me."
Get up and I'll go open the door.
You open the...
I'll just sit like on the bed. I'd have opened up the window.
Yeah.
And sent my clock out just to kind of keep a general idea of the streets. So
Okay.
that way.
You open the door and you see in front of you that there is a half-elven man who looks to be more in the middle age or just a little younger, but definitely older than Isabella, and thus older than you. He has relatively fine-looking clothes on and just a little bit of a pot belly to it all. Like, he's got a little weight on him.
Excuse me.
And when he opens, he is holding what looks to be the note that you sent out before. He goes and says, yes, I am looking for a Custos and... a Mark and Isabella?
Custos.
Custos. I apologize. That is my sincerest apologies to the situation. It seems
Yes.
you spoke out with Lorena about a business deal.
Yes, come in.
If you'll come in and have a seat.
Of course. He, strolls in a little bit, sits himself down at... There's a little table there and chairs, and...
Is there a lock on the door?
There is that you're able to do.
Just real quietly, just...
Make a sleight of hand.
I was going to
I'm
lock
not
the
good
window.
at that.
Lock the window as well if it locks.
So you're also closing it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna, depending on how this goes, I'm not gonna, oh, hey, never mind.
So the 15.
I was saying it's not gonna be this super, I have to do this thing, but...
Yeah, but it's still as he's walking in, you're just kind of closing it and going the switch over to keep it locked. And if you were...
Where is he? Is there chairs he's sitting in or anything?
Yeah, I was actually confirming. I think. Oh, that's why I'm having difficulties. I'm on the wrong Roll20 map. Too many screens. Too many screens. Yep, 100%. Totally forgot to finish out that map. So.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Close enough is close enough.
Well, if we get
As
up
long
to
as we
that
have a
point.
general idea.
As long as we're going to use the theater of the mind here. In the room, you do have a table with 2 chairs there. That is a normal setup for them. So one of you would need to stand, which I don't think is going to be an issue for you guys if you were all planning on sitting. Isabella is sitting on a bed that's kind of across from it, as the table's a little bit a ways, more closer to the window side than to the door side. So he does have to fully enter the room for you guys to get over there.
So I'm gonna turn around, just turn around, nod to Isabella to, move over and start talking.
Oh, and I'm sorry, Isabella, you were closing the window. Were you trying to be nonchalant as well?
Yeah, I was going to try, closing the window. I don't care if he sees me close the window.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try to lock it.
Can I get a sleight of hand from you as well?
It's almost like we've done this before. Weird.
17.
Cool. Yes, and he does opulently walk over and just sit himself down at the food, and he's like, "So what are you? Are you connoisseurs? Is this for personal or for business?"
It is for personal.
Ah, excellent.
We heard you were the finest merchant of wine in this area.
Well, I am quite pleased that my reputation has apparently preceded me. But yes, I have a very fine vintage out from that was brought over across the water, even from Thalth. So it is a foreign variety, but brought in through exporting across from Baycrocs. I have very good suppliers that way.
I pour him a cup of tea
And you hand it to him?
and.
He is holding it. He has not had any of it yet. Because, yes.
I didn't expect him to drink immediately.
But I find that it has a very rich and bold flavor. Yes. Quite wonderful, quite fascinating.
So how much would 4 bottles cost?
Oh, well, I have been, because of the great export fee, and it is a very fine wine itself, I have been selling them for 15 a bottle.
15 gold?
So, yes. So for 4 bottles, that would be 60 gold.
Do you have change on you?
I'm afraid I am carrying nothing with myself right now. We would have to go back to my area to do any sort of change.
Sorry.
Okay.
But you're interested. I mean, the bottles themselves are upstairs.
Okay. Well, darling, I think it'd be best to be able to go get the money so we can get change for it.
Yes.
Because, we do strictly have platinum.
Oh. Well, I suppose I couldn't entice you for more bottles then.
We have just met, and so it would be best if we just stick to the 4. Although we are wine connoisseurs, we do not drink it a lot. So these 4 bottles will last a while.
Understandable, quite understandable.
We wouldn't want to ruin such a fine wine.
And it is, I maintain, it is quite a fine wine. He, starts sipping a little bit of the tea as you handed it to him. But he also puts it down and starts to stand up from the chair and goes, would you like to accomplish this now?
Once like in real life.
Yeah.
Oh, I was more worried you guys were plotting behind my back. I'm like, come on, we're all in the same room. You can plot in front of my back.
But that's no fun.
This is fair. But then the chat can't get involved either.
That's fair.
That's true.
He was just asking, did I spike the... spike the tea. I did not.
I was kind of hoping that she was doing the really fancy switch.
If so, that's one of those things that should be mentioned to me early.
Yeah.
I will ignore the information, but you still got to mention it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm going to head toward the door and unlock it. And shall we?
Absolutely. He stands himself up and does go over to Isabella to offer a hand. See if she would
I
like
would
to.
prefer to walk with my husband, thank you.
My apologies, lady.
I'll just walk over and
and let him lead.
Of course. And he leans out and then leads you up towards the stairs to the 3rd floor where he has been a guest and over to his room.
Okay.
Upon opening the door and letting you in, you see that the room is very similar setup to your own. The biggest difference that you see is that because you guys weren't actually bringing anything, it lacks that live-in feel. Where here, the bed's still a bit tossed. You can see that there is his own food trays that are up here and kind of still sitting there. They look like they've been sitting for a little bit even.
Well, it was our first night. We hadn't really had time to do anything, so...
Yes. You also see that there is, on the floor by his window, that there is a large wooden crate that is, you can tell right away, give me a perception, both of you. Let's get you rolling before I just give you information for free.
Oh, but that's no fun.
I have a 13 passive perception.
This is not a passive situation.
Okay, Vex with a
19.
21 passive perception.
Right?
I had a cleric like that. Life was good. But, I should just be giving you information for free because you got 18s and 19s.
Hey, I'm not gonna complain about free information.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, no one should.
Yeah. You see that the crate in front is open and popped a little bit off on the side. You also catch that there are 2 empty bottles that are sitting on his table of some sort of beverage or wine. But they are wine-looking bottles that are there. You also can see that his window is closed, but you see it's also not locked. And he goes over to, after inviting you in for a moment, he kind of ignores the fact that it's already a mess and just, invites you over towards where there are chairs. While he pulls open the crate and you see that inside there are...
I am going to close the door behind us.
As he walks over, I'll be like, is this your permanent abode?
Oh, no. I'm originally from Baycrox. This is just where I am staying while I am in town, selling all of my wares.
Understandable.
How much longer will you be in town?
Oh, I estimate not much longer with all of my merchandise being sold.
Mm-hmm. Well, we were wondering if we could get a, I would say, permanent subscription, if you will.
A guarantee for future procurements.
Yes, though we would like to taste it before we make any final decisions.
Well, certainly opening one of the bottles would, of course, then decrease the value if you suddenly backed out.
I would definitely buy that one, if nothing else.
Well, he opens up the crate all the way, and you can see that it is separated into slots and has some hay sticking around out of it. That there are several bottles inside, and I'm just getting the correct amount. That there are 8 bottles inside that you can see. But there are also 4 additional spots that are empty.
So he sold 4 and has 8 left?
Out of this crate, at least.
Yeah.
Oh, nope. I am slightly off on my math here. That there are 6 empty spots.
Fair enough.
Okay.
So that 6 would theoretically have been sold.
I'll look and be like, "So, did you just bring one crate? That does not seem efficient for a big business trip."
And it was a mix of business and pleasure. I was also heading in this area just for some personal business I'm afraid I will not be going into. And I felt that taking this along, especially as this was the first shipment that I've received from Thoth, that they are not one to normally sell their wares into the kingdom. They seem to be snooty and stuck-up sort of folk over there.
I'll just slowly walk over to him, gently place my hand on his shoulder, and be like, I perfectly understand.
Yes.
So, shall we?
Yes, and he, reaches in down and pulls up one of the bottles, holding it towards Mark, and says, as I spoke, 15 per bottle, but the first one. And he starts to go over towards his table where he moves over, and you can now see that the two on the table match the same kind of bottle that he has right there.
Right.
Where he pulls out a wine corker, and starts undoing the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually getting a high heart rate over this. Just an FYI.
It's a stressful situation? Whatever are you talking about?
I wouldn't say stressful, more exciting.
It's over, pops it open, looks around for a moment and goes, I'm afraid I don't seem to have a clean glass.
I pull out 3.
You were just carrying around 3 glasses?
Yep.
I knew that's where it was going.
Yep.
Tarsus is carrying around a whole bunch of random wine glasses.
I would assume.
Well, we want to be real connoisseurs, if you will.
And also, where we were heading, I assume we have at least one that was poisoned.
You were assuming that you have wine that is poison?
One cup that is poisoned.
1 cup.
We did not discuss any of this at a prior time, lady and gentlemen. So I will give that you have 3 glasses, but I will not give you a poisoned one amongst that mix.
It was worth a shot.
Those are things you have to tell me you have prepped ahead of time.
Darn.
And you had hours to prep with a casting of Find Familiar as well.
Mm-hmm. I didn't think of it at the time, so.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
For future endeavors, you must poison the glass beforehand, or make a sleight of hand now to poison it. And do you actually have poison on you?
I do not know. Would it be possible to get a cup of poison, if you will? A magical, hey, look, this cup is constantly poisoned no matter what you do?
Theoretically, yes. You would have to probably have somebody create it, but yes.
I was just thinking, sitting at a bar going, hey, bartender, can I get a cup of poison, please?
Don't you know that's the best dwarven alcoholic drink that there is? It's a specialty.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Made from the bile of a basilisk.
I thought it was orc. That sounds orcish. Just...
The dwarves would disagree that it came from the Dwarven Empire. Don't give those orcs no credit.
Of course not. So, I put 3 glasses down.
Oh, I am happy that something favors the prepared. Very good. Pulls it out. Pours 3 glasses. Small. He's not doing a particularly large fill on anything.
No, this is just a taste test.
Yes, and holds up and says, salute.
Salute.
And drinks himself.
Just, spins it to aerate and take a sip. Mm-hmm. Do a little thing.
Yeah, you...
Still have no idea what that does, but hey.
Aerating?
No, that...
It makes you
probably
sound cool.
does aerate it a bit more.
But yeah, it is very similar to... It is the same one that you had a glass of earlier. As the owner or the co-owner told you that they had also procured some bottles. Mm-hmm. It's a nice wine. Would you consider Mark actually a wine connoisseur?
I'd say he would drink it here and there. Like, he understands what a good wine is.
From an occasional family event, you've had better.
Yeah. That's what I say. I know what a good wine is. And it's just like, it's not horrible.
Yeah, it is a good wine. It's just not a great wine.
Yeah.
Isabella,
We're rich enough to have great wine.
Isabella's one of those that she doesn't like alcohol all the time, but she would prefer wine because it's sweeter. And with her sweet tooth, she prefers wine over bomb.
Whereas Mark would prefer something more like Coke and rum. But for fancy events, oh, hey, look, there's great wine here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good wine. It is a red. It has a robust flavor to it. He did describe that part pretty well, but you just can't go straight to great wine. After he, sips it, he goes, quite a refreshing flavor, don't you agree?
Well, yes.
Excellent. Are you still set on 3 more bottles on top of this one? Perhaps now that you've appreciated its fullness, you'd be willing to purchase more.
I'm gonna be like, yeah, there is another tavern here.
I move closer to, triangulate the group, if you will.
Okay.
So I'm now, standing next to her and him.
Okay. Pretty well doable in the space, yes.
Yeah, I'll be like, there is another tavern that we've been talking to that will supply us with wine. From one of their suppliers.
Well,
it's a little bit more cheaper, but it has about the same taste.
It's very interesting.
Explain to us how yours better.
He, looks offended for that moment and says, well, I'm sure that there are local varieties equally with a fine, palatable taste, but in all honesty, our climate is just not proper for the growing of grapes. These, and he motions again, are from Thalth. Are you familiar with it? I'll take a geography. Is that a thing? This one? Fist one. Darn it! I have to remember which version I'm playing in again. Wait.
Nature, history.
Skills. There we go. I have it right up next to me on my screen. I don't know why I don't look. I'll take a general intelligence.
Okay. And what was the name? Just.
That's a nat 20.
Quite catch it.
Sorry. The name, which I will type. Whoops. Now I can use this one.
Does a nat 20 work?
Yes, a nat 20 works.
Okay. I got a 14. So.
Yeah. Isabella, you have heard of Thalth once before, in that they are a very desert-ish kind of climate, and that they're mainly ruled by a group that's known, and this is why it also sticks to you for the desert, is the Alliance of the Sands. But what really gets you is, that was, and why you weren't familiar then with Voronus, this continent that you're on, is because, that was the upper right corner of your map at home.
Right, which would make a lot of sense. Okay.
So you started to just pinpoint just a little bit more kind of where you're at.
Where we're at.
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay. I'll be like, yeah, that's familiar.
So
it's quite a ways from home.
Yes, and it is quite a ways from here. So this is wine that is cultivated in rich, dry climate, which helps to give it its rich and dry taste. It is also, you must understand, I will admit the price is a little higher because of export fees. But imagine the prestige that you will be able to show by displaying this wine at your own celebratory venue. You get to say that you have a wine from across the seas, which most others around here would not be making the same claim, or if they are not telling the truth.
Out of character, except for us.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah.
I'll look at him and be like, and I'm assuming this is pretty much your first time here? Because I have heard you recently, but up until about a week ago, I haven't heard anything about you.
Oh, well, I arrived, I believe it was about a 10-day ago, yes. Before that, again, I'm mainly from the Baycrocs area and do most of my import-export business out that way. I've, good conversations with many of the sailors from that area, and I'm able to procure wonderful items such as this, which not everybody is able to accomplish.
And before we proceed with regular...
Cutting out.
Sorry about that. Before we proceed with that regular supply, because this is really good wine, we just like to kind of know a little bit more the people we're dealing with. Because we are such a hierarchistic family, we have to limit ourselves to those we deal with, because we do not want to get roped up in their troubles, if you understand.
We don't want people who are, if you will, on the darker side of things. We want to be able to present an honest merchant who does very well business and sells very good product.
Well, the product you will have to judge for how well and how good it is, but I stand by it, and it is why I am selling it. Otherwise, I believe that my reputation is fair enough, especially in the area, and while it might not be a grand reputation that it is well known in Tregarin or even a Surpri, if you return back to Pearlshaw or Baycrocs or any of the coastal area, that it is a fair enough. I am well liked by many of the captains as well as their crew, and I've never heard any of them speak poorly of me, and I believe that I would hear an angry sailor is very vocal.
Usually.
And he, sips a little bit more of his wine at his own personal joke.
I'll chuckle along politely.
I'm taking a sip at this point, just so I don't... It's like me biting my lip, but it's just like, oh, just,
Again, he didn't pour you guys a whole lot, so it's not like there is much to sip.
Yeah. But I'll look over to Isabel and just cock my brow. When are we going to do this?
How about we share this one bottle of wine with you? We can take this one back to our abode. We did get some fine cheeses, I believe will go with this. Mm-hmm. And then after this bottle, we shall decide if we would like that subscription, or if we will just stick to the 4.
But you're purchasing the 4 now.
You told us you did not have change.
Oh, I didn't have change with me. We are now back upstairs. But I have some change to finish out the transaction.
Wonderful.
I'll just give a slight nod. Mark be like, placing my hand on the guy's shoulder and like, now for our true business. And my demeanor goes from this bubbly bright to a little bit more stern and cold, hand grasping the shoulder.
While she's doing this, I'm going up and scooping my arms up and around the head.
So you're going to grapple him?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then that is a, grapple check. We have to do things then.
Yes, I know.
All right.
He's describing his how he wants to grapple.
Okay.
Yes.
And now the show begins.
And now the show begins. All right.
And off to the races. Now we just need Benny Hill theme.
Do. No, wait, that's copywritten. Never mind.
So that's athletics.
Yep.
Is it still within copyright?
I think so, but I am not positive. I know the last time I looked at it, which was a few years ago, it was. Give me a moment just while I am confirming things on their character sheet.
I'm going to go ahead and roll then.
Yes, please.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I want to use my advantage and re-roll that.
Do you still have that? I thought you used.
I got another one.
Oh, I thought you used it up for the death save.
No, I got another one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they got to me before I had to actually use it.
I gotcha.
So,
all right, I believe this is the last one.
Much better.
So 15?
Yeah, I don't have any more. Yeah,
plus
15.
5 for the 20.
Right.
Okay, I'm making sure I'm also reading roll 20
that's
correctly.
That's with the 5.
Okay, so
That's
15.
with 5.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. When they click on it, the second one's with advantage.
It's that I'm making sure if he's able to just use acrobatics right away.
Yeah, you can use athletics or.
Cool. Thank you for confirming for me.
We had this question earlier today at their stream.
Yeah, it was
Bump.
interesting.
But he is shocked and surprised by the 7 would have beaten it.
And that is why I re-rolled.
No, the 7 would have beaten it.
Yeah, well.
I
wanted to make sure I could beat it.
That's fair. Yeah, in the moment of surprise, as he, turns to see this, interesting, bubbly Isabella suddenly turn a bit dark and glary, you just grab him in a headlock and hold on to him.
It's up and around. So underneath his arms and...
It's still a headlock, isn't it? Yeah.
No.
I used to watch WWE wrestling. I vaguely remember these things.
Ask Grundig.
No, he would know worse things. But moving on, you have him. He is shocked. He is surprised, and he starts. What is going on here? Release me!
Now, it would be good for your health if you be quiet.
Roll intimidation.
Well, shit.
I'll slowly get in front of him and be like, does the name Trish ring a bell?
He's just squirming and wiggling against things. He just goes, I will do no such thing. You have invaded my room. Release me.
I'm just going to look into you. Could you just scare him, please?
I will take out a dagger and be like, we are just here for civil matters and would not like to harm you in any way. We just were sent to collect some coin.
You may roll intimidation now.
Thank you.
Wow.
If this was a civil matter, then you would not be holding me in such a position. Let me go. Thurston, please roll a will save for me.
Will save?
Oh, shit.
Don't you mean wisdom?
Oh, darn you, different editions. Yes, please roll a wisdom save.
I really need to stop using that.
Please.
You know what? You're not really sure why you're holding him like this. He asked nicely. He's being pretty reasonable about this. And you release him from your hold.
Looking very confused.
Yeah.
I'm going to press the blade against the guy's throat and be like, it's not nice to use something against my husband.
You can roll Arcana, but you don't recognize anything immediately.
I wouldn't recognize him just suddenly.
Actually, wait. Stop before you do that. Roll Insight instead. Roll an Insight.
Insight? Okay. 21? That's wrong. Why did it not put the... 13.
I'm saying we could just take the 21. It's fine.
Right? It's like, there's something wrong with that equation. We did it just paste.
Well, thank you for your honesty and noticing it right away. It's a little weird for him to have done, but it's not 100% like out there yet. Your hackles are just a little raised, but you can't just claim right away that you know what it was.
Okay, then I'll still press my blade against his throat. Mm-hmm. Just change what I said.
That's fair.
Just if we all calm down and we all stay in a low tone of voice, we will be out of your hair, and you won't see us ever again, except for maybe the occasional buying of wine.
This is all in your head.
We are illusions of your imagination.
Well, if we're trying to be friendly about things, you can at least drop the dagger a little bit.
I will just take the dagger back away from his throat.
It's only an inch or two.
Yeah.
No, I'm taking it down to my side. I'm showing I don't want... I want to get that I'm not going to hurt you unless if you...
Yeah. All right. Like, you can see that he, like, does that mini quick check up at his neck to make sure everything's okay.
Probably a good thing to do.
Like, and he is holding his arm still, like, he's not allowing him to be locked anymore, but he is still holding himself also back from you guys.
I'll just motion for, just be like, hun, can you just give the man a little space?
I'll move back, yeah.
Just so that way we give him a little breathing room, show him that we're not trying to be uber threatening, but...
Now then, as your demeanor has drastically changed, and I am not saying you can blame my wine for any of this. What do you want?
We were sent here to collect some gold you owe. Nothing more.
I see. And I appreciate your forward questioning now then. Well, as I had discussed with the Genasi at the end of her gambling establishment, that I needed to finish selling off the rest of my supplies in order to pay her in full. And he straightens himself just a little bit more through all of this, slightly getting himself on at least some footing, you feel. And I left within her a small compensation for having to wait, which was also a couple of bottles of my wares. Now, I am very willing to pay her in full, but I cannot yet accomplish this until I sell the last few. He, makes a gesture over.
Prove it.
In what way?
Prove why you can't pay it. How much money do you have? Prove it.
A small, paltry amount right now, and I admit to actually make your change, which you were requesting a few moments ago. I was going to head down to Lorena or Reginald or whomever and have them make change for me. I have a small amount on me right now, but I was going to have to cover it that way.
Insight to see if he's bullshitting.
Go for it.
I was going to say, I was about to...
Insight for BS.
Excuse me while I roll over here with the magic reel dice.
For fuck's sake.
I was like, does just Mark get insight?
You're welcome to roll insight too. I wasn't going to stop it. It's in that land of I will maintain the, if you help each other, one person can get advantage, or you can both roll separately.
Okay. Well, I was just double checking. That's a 15. Because I'd rather double check before I roll and go, oh, this was this. Like, wait, you weren't supposed to roll.
I blame Tree. I'm having a bad rolling day.
So
We
when
haven't
Tree
even
gets
done
to rolling,
anything.
Yeah, if you didn't split the
That's
party,
the problem.
all the rolls would be, amongst everybody. So really, it's your own fault.
They had a job to do. They didn't want to come along. That's not our fault.
right?
You didn't have to take the job.
Mark, so far he seems, fine. Like for a person who just recently was in a headlock and had a dagger to him, how crazy could he be to be lying to you guys right now?
And this is why I put more faith in Isabella's skill than mine when it comes to bullshitting.
Isabella, you are not. Don't think he's telling the whole truth here. Like, he has made mention now of like having money, but he's not also like admitting how much. It's something's fishy. Something's a little stinky here.
I'll look at him and be like, we're not leaving until we see. Shh.
Well, then we will be at a bit of an impasse, which will be a bit problematic then if someone does come around as you are armed in my room demanding money. Oh, I so want to know what you guys are typing right now, and I know I'm just missing it all.
Honestly, I'm not paying attention to that chat right now. I'm thinking,
There's literally nothing going on in the chat.
Yeah.
like, these are the droids these are not the droids you're looking.
That's about the only
That's
thing
pretty-
I've been at.
Yeah.
That's like the most recent thing.
So, so are you saying you don't have the money?
I am.
Because if so, we may have a problem here.
Well, I believe you are already implying that we have a problem already. But you are asking to see some, so he holds up his hands a little bit. Says,
I'm just backing towards the door. So that way.
I'm watching him very carefully.
Yeah.
If he does something stupid, I'm going to hit him.
he goes over to his bed. You see him wrestle underneath the mattress for a moment. You can make a perception.
Excuse me.
And while he's doing this, I will just switch my vision from me to the hawk and see the outside area. Just only for like 2-3 seconds, and then kind of get a quick scan and then pop back to me.
This is still a weird feeling because you're not quite used to it, but suddenly you're perched on top of the building. It's the best way to put it is you feel perched. Looking down, it seems to be a normal night. Nothing particularly is going on outside. People are coming in and going, and you can hear through the bird that there is music from downstairs that you can't quite catch going on up here. But it isn't like, it's not loud and rambunctious. It is more that slight, delicate grandeur.
Okay.
But it is just leaking out into the streets.
It's perfect. Okay. I'd go right back to my vision.
Yeah. During that time, Mark, keeping a steady eye on Pearson as he reaches under the bed, and after a moment, you see that he pulls out a gem around this size. He's holding it. He says, I have several of these that are able to pay for much of the upfront. But again, the last little bit would just have to be covered.
How much do you consider a little bit?
Looks over and comes back with, I am just shy of 100 short at the moment.
Would we know how much those are worth?
The gems.
The gems?
Mm-hmm.
It would be extremely difficult from this distance to determine. You could make an investigation with disadvantage to try to get a price range, but it would be very difficult from this distance.
I'll slowly walk up to him, sheathing my blade, and hold out my hand and be, may I? Just
Why?
asking, just to see how genuine this is.
He very gingerly hands it over to you.
Okay, then I'll examine it.
You can now roll a straight investigation.
Does it look like a diamond or...
It is a medium-sized red gem.
So more like a ruby or something.
I have now picked my tea for the evening. In case you're wondering what
Okay,
that
we're
part
good.
was all for. Yes.
So we won't die now, guys.
Then now you won't die. It's something with chamomile.
It's going to be a good night.
It's gonna be a good night. It looks like it might just be an overly large garnet of something or that sort. It doesn't quite look clear enough for there to be... Yeah, I was right. Chamomile, honey, and vanilla, everybody. That is the choice I think.
Ooh.
That it looks like it'd just be an overly large garnet. It isn't like a bad cut to it. It could be your worth around 50, maybe up to 100, but it's a little hard to tell.
Okay. I'll just hand it back.
Did she tell us
it isn't
how
red
much
glass.
the debt was?
500 gold.
500 gold.
And we would get 50 of it.
The debt was 500.
The debt was for 500, of which you would get 10%, 50 gold.
And the gem is worth how much?
Roughly 50 to 100. So what I'm thinking, I'll look at Mark and be like, what we can do, so that way this gentleman is not in any further trouble with her, we can go ahead, buy the 4 bottles that we promised, and I'll turn to him and be like, and to the man and be like, just remember, we will find you if you try to skip town without paying her the remainder. Is that fair?
Understood.
And so I will...
Before we go, I'm going to go have a look underneath the bed.
You're going to...
I'm not saying this, I'm doing.
Okay, I wanted to confirm.
Where it looks like he pulled out where that was from.
It is something that you can't just glance at. You would have to investigate and look under.
I'm moving and looking.
Yeah.
So, investigation?
Are you doing that now while he's still in the room?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to see if he's actually up front or if he's doing more bullshittery.
You can roll investigation. As he sees you doing this, he goes, What are you?
We're just making sure.
Sake.
Damn.
Apparently this is my bad night.
Oh, Tarstan. And...
Well, you can see that it is, because it's an actual nice kind of bed, that there is some lippage down there. So it's possible that it was kept under there and you just weren't able to see it before.
Yeah.
And as you're looking under there, he like looks and goes, I understand, but also realize that I am a well-traveled man and I know not to keep all of my valuables in one place.
I'll just pat him on the shoulder. Good man. Hun, shall we?
I guess.
I'll get out 30 gold and pay for 2 bottles. So there's 2 bottles for me.
And is Mark purchasing the other 2 bottles?
Yeah. I'll actually hand it to him. You know how you like hide cash when you hand them, shake hands?
Yes.
And I'll grip his hand. Don't run. It won't go well.
You can roll another intimidate, sir.
Which is still shit. Oh, that's actually not bad. Watch me still get like a 5. Oh, hey, that's much better.
18. There we go.
There you go. We're evening out a little bit now.
Yeah.
Well, I
He's
had to
getting
even
all
out.
his bad rolls. Getting all the bad rolls at the beginning.
That's not a bad way to do things. He, especially as you do that little bit of the squeeze effort to the situation, goes, yes, I understand.
Because I'm a lot stronger than what the suit gives away for me.
I see that. Well,
Now we'll collect our 2 bottles from the 4 bottles.
4 bottles.
4 bottles. One is open. You have the other 3 that are unopened. He kind of I feel like you guys just take it from him at that point.
Just walk over, collect 2 bottles for me, then 1 more, like the 3rd or the 4th on our way out. Have a good evening.
You as well.
Be safe now.
And you leave him alone back in his room.
Before we go, darling, open the room up. Say a word. Any word. Push the issue, and we'll be back, and it'll be worse. So let's keep it civil, okay? And close the door.
Yeah, this is why Renessa doesn't go along with this. She doesn't do threats.
And breaking Christine is amazing.
Nice.
Got it.
Head back to our room.
All right.
The rest of the night. I mean, we paid for a night, man.
You did. And you have successfully collected 60 out of 500 when you think about it.
I mean, did we take the rest?
No, here's... And once we get back to the room, I turn to Mark and say, I know it may have cost us just 10 gold in the long run, but now we have a contact. And information is far more valuable than a few gold.
Well, obviously.
Knowledge is power.
Power corrupts.
That roll, I'll talk to the hawk and tell him to keep eye for the man.
So you're just... I'm sorry, I've been attacked by a beagle.
Aww.
Puppy!
Are you going to show the puppy?
Only if she can successfully do this. Come in. Nope.
That gives me time to look up what I'm trying to do.
Oh, here we go. Thank you, husband. Da-dun, da-dun, da-dun.
Puppy!
This is a night of puppies.
Adorable puppy. I wish
bring
I could
mine.
have.
I'd show the one that's in the house, but no.
Yeah. What she's really demanding is to go outside. That was really what she was demanding there.
Okay. So I'll telepathically tell my hawk to keep an eye out for him.
Okay. I wanted to... Spells... Wizard... I'm also confirming 100% what... Just used the wrong keyboard to type.
That happens.
Didn't used to happen. In the good old days when there was only one computer.
Well, yeah, that one computer kind of gave up life, though.
Oh, no, this was also just to have the benefit of the nice fancy map ability, where you guys can't see all the things moving on the GM screen. Or GM layer. There we go. Find familiar. Okay, cool. Yeah, you just have the hawk kind of perched up on top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just kind of keep an eye out. Maybe circle every once in a while just to see if anybody's trying to get out of town.
Okay. So you guys are staying for the night. Renessa and Twitch. I am imagining, returned to the Red Udder at one point.
Yeah. I guess.
Probably.
Well, at least there you have free room and board. At the Fallen Oak,
Yeah.
you don't. You would have to pay for something.
Not doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is there anything else you would like to accomplish? You are also the reading group. You still have books you can go through.
You also have taxes to go through.
And tax papers.
We already went through all the taxes. We don't have those papers. We have our notes, which we've already kind of gone through. What is it, Twitch?
I have them.
Did you swipe them?
Did you swipe them?
I can't remember whether I swiped them or I copied them or something.
I think you made copies. You didn't quite
I
bribe
think I
her
did
enough to
copy.
steal things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you.
But I do have in my notes attack records for the past 10 years.
God damn it.
Those are copies. They aren't
Not
the
knowing
originals.
bribes gave too much, so we had enough for being able to make copies of them. So we have copies of the tax records for the past 10 years.
Correct. Just Renessa has specific notes relating to what she felt was interesting.
I like the idea that just nobody noticed that Twitch just has a stack.
They in with fur, so no one gave a shit.
It's totally normal. You were clearly a messenger.
Obviously.
I mean, I don't think Renessa would have questioned you just making copies of all of the papers. And then
It's
you
just
just carry
paper.
them around. Like, it's actually nice that we have copies of those tax records, because if I lose my notes or if we need to look through them again for more information, then
Someone
we don't
slightly
have
breathing
to go
into a
back.
microphone.
Sorry, what was that?
I was saying someone is slightly breathing into a microphone.
That's probably me. I had to move it.
Okay. No, that's
Briefly.
fine. It just popped up.
Yeah, it was one of those things I was like, I'm gonna stop breathing. I'm gonna figure out, is it me?
And I
That's
just
why I
moved
did-
I just moved the mic so many times because of my dog. I'm like, oh, am I like out of range? Did I clip something?
Yeah, I did this because I was like, is it hitting my hoodie? Is it me?
This is
No,
where
it was
the
me. I had to-
real
because
Twitch
my
streaming
neck
comes in.
and the half
Yeah.
thing. I have to move it every now and then.
But yeah, Renessa will probably just read more books.
I see lots of reading happening.
I mean, it's one of the best ways of learning about a continent you've never been to without having to talk to too many people.
How much
I was
of
gonna say.
the history book have I finished?
You have gotten through a good starting chunk. You were just getting into... Hold, please, while I check my notes again. The Bloody War. There we go. This was the actual page. You also learned a little bit about the... Oh, no, wait. Nope, that was a note for for Mark. I had the tower pop up for a second. I was like, wait, this is the wrong person.
Yeah, no, this is the Bloody Path to Glory.
Yep. You had that it was originally ruled by the Neri family, and that was over 200 years ago. That it was King Solomance who killed the Neri family. That it is the current ruler, who is Krelnos. Solomance was his father. So it's really a kingdom of two generations. And are you continuing to read on?
Sure.
Okay. You are putting honest to goodness just time into this at this point, so you don't need to roll for anything. And I will actually write up notes for you to keep for a later point in time. But for some of the gist of things that you get is again, this author is taking it from a compassionate side to the Neary family and a more critical side to the Patans who had taken over everything. So it goes a little bit into that socio-political aspect where it's talking about the brutal tactics that were used. A mention that kind of strikes a little bit of a memory to something you guys had talked about at one point is you see that part of the Baton's rise was that they had made friends with a dwarven family known as the Goruns. And you remember hearing something about a Gore field, so it like striking your memory a bit there. And it was also considered while it was considered a very strong political move of them to really start embracing other races, as the Neary's one main downfall to them was that they were a very elven family who stuck to traditional elven ideals that lent a little bit to them being elves are the best and everybody else isn't, despite this being a very racially diverse area, and is part of what made them an easier target once the Baton started to really push on them. But then it actually goes into many of the deaths and the fighting that went on, of how the Lord of Baycrox, who was a second brother to the king, was just murdered off, and how there was rumors of the streets running red with blood of him and the rest of his family, so that way none would survive that section. And how similar things happened in other areas. The only place where that didn't fully happen was Tottenwall. Whoop. Hey! Thank you for something. Hold on, I'm trying to see. I'm gonna see if I can get...
Nav with the host.
Oh, well, thank you, Nav, for that host. Oops. Sorry, I'm trying to move around things now. Oh, now. Again, too many screens. There we go. Yeah, how Tottenwall was kind of on the outskirts of this and did not participate in any of the actual changing of the guards, if you will. But they were also equally left alone and almost like self-governing, but still having some loyalty to whoever at the end of the battle came along and was like, hey, fine, we'll pay you your taxes kind of deal. But otherwise kept themselves very third party and out of the way during the whole ordeal. There was also, you can see that, reading through, that the Baton also gained assistance from a group of Dragonborn. Actually, I'm going to just pull up. I'm going to move everybody over to the map. Boop. Hey, the map. That there is mention that the Dragonborn of the Bloodborne Desert were also called in, and it was one of Pearlshaw's original reckonings, and why you can see now why Giles was mentioning this place has been destroyed multiple times, was that it was partially burned down by the Bloodborne after the Bloodborne were paid a significant fee of gold and silver coins to help out the Baton as they were trying to take over.
Okay.
And that is a good amount of chunk of what you have learned during your evening. Vanessa, to confirm, what are you reading?
The book that I have been flipping through, it is Tales of the Tundra.
Okay.
So more creepy stories about the Tales of the Tundra.
All right. So far, you were able to read about the creepy creatures that are just there in general.
The witch that likes to kidnap children and send their skeletons back to murder their families.
You can't help but flip through that one again. It has grasped your attention so much and just creeped you out.
I hate the story, but I love it so much.
You also had while you were talking about the needle blights, trying to remember if there was anything in the book specifically relating to that.
Mm-hmm.
As your ranger knowledge and remembrance said that needle blights tend to form from some sort of corrupted starting point. And you read partially a story about how that there was reference of large ominous trees that grow out in that area, which were supposed to suck life out of the area around them. And considering that the tundra's already relatively lifeless, it was a little unclear how it did it more, but that was kind of interesting. But you are, in fact, getting to the end of the book. And and like there's the little page filler interesting things in there of random ghost stories of family members, or
do we recognize the family members' names listed?
No, it's all very generic, like the Smith family kind of deals, like old grandmother Smith, whose ghost comes back and haunts. There's a quick telling of like a tale of lovers who, because they were from opposing families, that they weren't able to stay together, so they decided to run off into the tundra together and were immediately killed, and now their spirits come back. And now their spirits haunt the tundra. There's supposedly.
Boss, right?
Did your what? Did
my
your
boss all his stories, and like either the dog dies, they get fired, the business goes down. So it's like when you said that, instantly my boss telling me that story went off.
Nice. You also read a tale that there is supposed to be a bloody river somewhere in the tundra where there's an old woman who's washing clothes in it that just constantly run with blood.
Okay.
As another good creepy story. And it's ending with its own little chapter area, which is just another interesting like group of stories that kind of finish out the whole thing, which is about the shadow people.
Ooh.
And
never mention the shadow people.
And that the shadow people are supposedly like, there's a mixed telling as to whether they are actual shadows or if they're just people who live in the shadow of the Shattered Mountains, specifically within the crevice, who are said to kidnap people to come down at times. And it is a tale that is more told along the mountain regions of the kingdom, where the shadow people will come down out of the mountains and steal people, children, or just anything away and take it into the shadow realm. But these people are supposed to be bloodthirsty and have long claws that they use to grab at people and sharp white teeth that are used to destroy.
So vampires, got it.
Nulls.
I'm not there, so...
That's what Renes's mind went to. Sharp claws. Teeth.
But like it has a whole section on these shadow people and some of the things that they have like done and how they are terrible and how they are creepy. Also disappearing into the shadows of the mountains, like in some cases the darkness itself. That it kind of finishes out that way, and you have finished up all of the creepy tales of the burnt tundra.
I finished a book in game.
You spent a lot of time reading.
It only took, 2-3 days?
3 days.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a fast reader, not that bad.
Could be better, could be worse.
I've read 750 pages in a day. but you got to be invested.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway.
I'm just trying to think if there's any other book she has. She gave the sailing one to read.
Mm-hmm.
And did she lend the one on the clock tower to someone?
Mark.
I have that.
Okay. But
and I don't think she bought any more books.
No, you in fact only bought those books. I admit I've just gone back and also confirmed, but that's how many books you've bought.
I can also lend you my book on... Let me pull it up.
Nope.
The God Wars.
Ooh, cool.
I have a book on the God Wars called The Shattering of the Mountains.
Yay, you get DM points for remembering that. I know you found it in your notes, but still, I appreciate it.
The Shattering of the Mountain?
Mountains.
Mountains. Sounds fascinating. But yeah, she's finished reading and is probably just kind of like staring at it going, really, that's what it's going to end on? Is another creepy story?
So, like, that was what the whole book was entitled. Yep. But that also kind of finishes out your night, is finishing that off.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Cool.
We will return to morning. We will start with those who are away from the starting point. Mark, actually, Ira, apologize. I just realized what time it is. This is a good break time. So, we will take a 13-minute break, only because I like random numbers and take that people with trichodecaphobia, after all the creepy tales we just had. That we will return at 9:40. Otherwise, enjoy your break, and then we'll figure out what the ACTR Spearborn are doing. All right, be right back. I'm starting.
I'm gonna go grab a snack.
All right, go for it. And we are also back at the exact same time. Then we will definitely be starting back with Isabella and Mark of what they're doing with their morning after spending a very nice night at the Fox and Hen.
I'm eating a cookie. Breakfast.
No, you're not.
Too late.
Just smack the back of her head.
When you think about it, the cookie just gets in your mouth even faster then.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could cough it. No more cookies till you eat something.
But I am eating something.
Something healthy.
Cookies are healthy.
Cookies are healthy for the sweet tooth. Cookies are not healthy for your health. So,
Okay.
shall we get moving?
Let's go by the fallen oak. Update Trish.
We can give her the bottles.
Yes. So we'll to the fallen oak.
Okay. You remember the path that wasn't terribly difficult to get to. And when you get over there, you're seeing the Red Udder is very much a breakfast place. This one, not so much. It's actually far emptier here than it would be there. And it was relatively empty as you were leaving the Fox and Hen too. It seemed like you were actually part of the late group kind of leaving.
Yeah. Those places are more like dinner overnight places than...
Exactly.
Is my fox is not fox.
Hawk.
Hawk is just sitting up there.
Yeah, he was just sitting up there during the night.
Okay, so that means he probably see anybody try to sneak off.
Yeah. It was kind of with the last thing you left him doing.
Alright, so I'll just call him to me.
Yep. It's like it's a mental command that he just flies down and lands on you.
Because it is. Telepathy. Gotta look.
All right. You guys get out that way with no issue. Again, there's a lot less people here, but there is a... Who was it at the Fox and Hen? Oh, excuse me. Nope, you were at the Fox and Hen. Who was it at the Fallen Oak?
Trish.
Was it her name Trish?
No, her name was Trish. I was trying to remember if I had a bartender for you guys.
Oh.
It was just Trish.
Okay.
We went straight to Trish.
You kind of walked in and bypassed everything.
Did you keep that gem by chance?
No, I did not.
Because you were... Okay. Because I didn't touch it.
I gave it back in good faith. So if I kept it, he may have started questioning it a little more.
Oh well. Shall we?
As you walk in and you guys are just beelining your way back over towards that side door that you saw.
I would go up to the tender and be like, if it's pretty empty.
Yeah, it is pretty empty, and you see that there is a male halfling who is kind of running behind the bar. And by running, I mean he is lounging while leaning back on a stool, looking over at you guys. Kind of looks up and says, "Can I help you folk?"
Is Trish in?
Well, I believe that would depend on who is asking for her.
She hired us for something small. Just wanted to report finds.
Oh, don't believe she's really active at this point in time, but I'm willing to give her a message for her.
This is something we'd like to do in person.
You want me to go get her for you then?
It would
If
be
you would like.
appreciated.
He kind of looks around for a second and eyes you guys up for a moment. Says, "All right, give me a moment." And he walks off into the back area of the bar, giving you guys a quick look.
I'm going to lean in quite closely to your ear and whisper, I'm going to be really happy to get my gear back.
I understand.
Give your cheek a small kiss.
Like, instantly red, just like, oh my god.
And, like, within a minute or two, the halfling comes back out and says, she'll be over in a few moments.
Okay,
Thank you.
And then I'll pull out the 2 bottles of wine I'm carrying. I'll set them.
I also pull out the 2 that I'm carrying, and
I'll set them up to be like, and these are gifts for you.
The halfling, like, kind of looks interested. He's like, for me?
For the tavern.
He, like, grabs one, pulls it close, like, kind of inspecting it over.
this one has been opened if you would like to taste.
Grabs it. Pops it open for a second. Does the equal swirl, smell, pour a little bit, taste it, and goes,
I thought he was going to chug it.
I have expected that.
I'll look at it like, in your name, good sir?
Tellin.
Helen.
I'm going to tell you.
And yours, mademoiselle and good sir?
Isabella.
Mark.
Pleasure. After he tastes like a little bit of it, he then, like, after a few moments and that Trish still hasn't arrived, he then does the chug thing.
Yay, I'm happy.
You might not want to drink all.
Of course not. It's too early for that.
Drinks.
Well, he does drink a little bit more. And after a little bit, you both catch that there is some footsteps coming from that back area, and you watch as the halfling, like, while still leaning on the stool, kind of, like, takes the whole bottle and just holds it down on his side. So in that way that there are 3 obvious bottles on the bar as opposed to 4.
I'll look at him and be like, don't let her catch you. And I'll just take a step back
He shrugs.
towards the table.
And you see coming out through that back area, not dressed particularly... You saw her dressed a little bit better the other night when she was setting things up in the side room, but you see again the red-skinned woman who now, after speaking with Pearson, you get an idea that she is a Genasi. And
Considering he mentioned she was a Genasi, I would hope so.
yep. Well, in case you didn't catch me saying that she was a Genasi,
yeah.
then.
Yeah.
I got that.
Cool. We're all on the same page?
I figured that when you said red skinned the first time, so.
Oh,
Comes
I
out-
thought she said red hair the first time.
This is why I check these things. But either way, Trish comes up and she looks at you kind of expectantly and she goes, "Oh, greetings. Am I anticipating good news or more questions?"
Good news. He has 2 bottles left to sell, if I remember correctly. Is that
Mhm.
correct? And then you will promptly have your money. We did check. He does have some of it on him. So we did make sure that he will not skip town with your money.
She kind of looks over and she says, "The rat mentioned not having enough to start with. That's why he also... So I now have 3 more bottles on top of the 2 that he also gave me earlier."
He did say he was only 1,500 short.
I didn't catch that and it sounded a little weird, so I'm just confirm what you said.
He said he was going to be 1,500 short. Pretty sure what he just said.
50 to 100 short.
There we go. That makes more sense, because I was about to be like, 1,500 was way more than she was asking for.
Right? I was like, wait, what?
Well, I would prefer to have everything in full. But if all you're able to get is short of 400 or short 100 or 50, then just understand I will not be paying you the full 50 either.
That's understandable.
I would not expect you to.
As long as we're clear on both sides.
So we thought we would just deliver some wine, deliver the news, and then we'll be out of your hair.
Well, thank you, and I hope that this is the rest of our business is accomplished quickly.
I do hope you have a very lucrative night.
She thinks for a moment, goes, we played last night, and I made a good amount. Nothing spectacular, but we will now hold quiet for a little bit.
Don't want to get caught after all.
It's an open secret around this area. It's more that if you bleed someone dry every night, they don't come back.
Yeah, a little bit.
Have to leave them wanting something more.
So, have a good day.
You
Enjoy
as well.
the wine. Hopefully. And we will be back.
Thank you. She, kind of waits a little bit for you guys to at least start to move away. But you see...
Once I said bye, I'm moving.
Yeah.
Okay. But she does walk back into the back area before you guys really exit the inn.
No, I just start staring awkwardly right into her face constantly until she starts getting weirded out.
I can't remember what your charisma is, man.
No, not nearly that good. I got a 10. So, not good enough to do that.
It could be worse. Anyway. Otherwise, are you guys returning to the Red Udder?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The Book Brigade.
That's the
I love that name.
Brigade.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything...
The Mercs and the Book Brigade. Love it.
Is there anything special you guys would like to do with your morning while you are waiting for your fellow party members to arrive? No. As you did know that they were going to be spending the night away, and they just have not yet returned. All right. If nothing, then we'll
Breakfast.
Then I am happy to fast forward to getting all of you guys together.
All I can imagine now is someone having a roan just...
I mean,
That's fine.
I might look over the tax records again to see if there's any things that pop out.
Sure. Roll an investigation.
$16.
That's pretty good.
Hey, you didn't roll a 1.
Yeah.
That's you, Tarstan.
The only thing that's kind of interesting, for an additional point, is you were reading through a little bit more of the Knowles situation that occurred.
Mm-hmm.
That was
7 years ago.
7 years ago. I had I had 8 farms and 7 years next to each other, and my brain honestly said, I don't think I said 7 years before, but I was making sure I had my notes correct. That from 7 years ago, that it sounds like that afterwards, while the taxes were cut from a lot of people, that they were also bumped up the following year, which kind of is annoying to you, that they had to kind of pay back the little bit of a break that they basically got for that year. And also it meant that there was one farm that closed down.
Okay.
Ooh.
That is the Tarleton.
Okay. You want to go check out a creepy abandoned farm?
Ooh, yes.
I love how the response to just about everything creepy is, ooh, yes.
And at the same time, no, not another creepy thing.
It's the internal, like, why does it have to be creepy again? But also, I can't help but be fascinated by it.
It's like a train wreck. You just can't
Oh, yes.
help but do it.
You can't help but watch, yeah. So, yeah, let's go investigate a creepy farm. It's been abandoned.
For 6 years, at least.
Ooh.
Meanwhile, after a little bit of like you guys talking and discussing about this, you see that Isabella and Mark have returned.
Is Giles here?
Probably.
We haven't looked.
You remember mention of him from the day before having to deal with the Lord Marius Thalwick, that in his own words, he was under house arrest.
Oh, yeah, so he's not allowed to leave.
I was just gonna go check with Giles, check in on him, and raid a Nate.
Okay.
If the area isn't busy at this point.
It's a bit busy right now because it's still early morning.
So I'll just wait.
Okay.
So what'd you kiddies find out?
We found an abandoned farm.
Yeah. I think go check it out.
Okay. Sounds fun.
Also, the tundra is completely full of weird creepy shit. But that's not new news.
I'd say we kind of know that.
Yeah, that's why I said it's not new, but still.
Seems like the ruling people here are elves and have been for a while. There's a lot of prejudice towards elves.
And
Well,
apparently
for
half
elves.
Well, considering the farm situation when we went out there in the first place, they weren't exactly receptive.
Oh, as well as probably shouldn't be too friendly towards Dragonborn.
Why not?
You know how we're supposed to be from Pearlshaw?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, a group of Dragonborn mercenaries destroyed the place.
Oh, okay.
Lovely. I mean, Giles did say it was constantly being raided, and therefore all the paperwork was lost. So, not a
That
total
would
waste.
explain why.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys discuss and continue on for a bit, and the place is starting to quiet down as you spend part of your morning that you feel it would be easier to sneak downstairs with minimum interruptions.
Just go downstairs, check on everything.
I'll bring a plate of food down for him, as well as the tax records.
I'll bring down food for the rest.
Just sort of set it to one side.
Here, enjoy these tax records from the past 10 years.
Hey, thank you to... I think that was another raid?
Yep.
Yay! Thank you for the raid. Oh, and there's more
Ooh.
sounds.
Yeah, there's two
Sargon?
raids.
Oh, 2 raids. Welcome, everybody.
Wow.
Welcome to the party.
Thanks for the raid, y'all.
Hi.
It was fabulous.
Welcome
Okay,
to the...
Sloppy one and Zargan.
Everybody throw your dice at him.
Yeah. Welcome to the exciting land of tax records of what we are entering into here, as our party has entered the super secret underground thiefy area to go bring food to the poor trapped people and tax records.
Hey, Giles might find some use with them.
Are we
Right.
bringing
True.
records? It's like, here's some food if you want to look over these tax records.
Yeah, you see him like kind of sitting around his desk area, but not actually doing or working on anything. That he kind of perks up with the mention of food brought over to him, and then after a few moments, when you're like, "And we brought tax records," he's like, "Wait, what? How did you?"
You don't want to know.
No, I know I don't, and at the same time,
Just leave it there. It's okay.
Vanessa
my
just gives a
brain.
little wave.
I've given you perfectly legitimate papers to, leave and do things with, and whatever you want to do, whether it be legitimate or not at that point.
Out of character, we didn't even use our papers.
Right.
He doesn't know that. So, yeah, you're welcome to, do what you want. What am I doing with them?
Well, we needed some place to put them.
Sure.
I
mean,
I thought you might be able to use them. I don't know.
He
You might find something useful.
He kind of starts flipping through a little bit, actually seeing, and he's like, livestock records? What? All right. I honestly don't have anything better to do at this moment, so sure, I'll look through them. He he honestly does the flip thing on a piece of paper, and he's like, that was a lot of cows. That's a lot of chickens.
Mm-hmm.
Flips back. All right. Yeah. How's the weather?
Bless our party.
Stuff.
I'm bringing Nate and Reed food.
Yeah. You see that Reed is sitting around flipping through the nautical book that Renessa dropped off for him, and Nate is still just spinning the dice that was given to him and playing around with things, and clearly the most bored teenager before a cell phone invented kind of deal.
Why is Nate still here? Didn't he get the all clear to leave?
He did, and then it was recommended that because word of the prisoner escape had gone on, that he should stick around.
Yeah.
He was in the prison, so...
Like...
Okay.
He got the all clear, and then when you guys came back mentioning that you had heard rumors already, you had mentioned, you as the party, as the royal we, had mentioned that maybe he should keep a low profile and stay inside. So...
I am going to give him a deck of cards.
I'll walk up to Nate and be like, can I see your paper real quick?
Yeah, and he pulls out a pretty identical to all of yours, except that it is missing the area for an adventuring party name.
Okay.
Or, not that it's missing, but that it is not filled in.
Okay. Where does it say he's from?
It says
paper?
that he is from Pearlshaw.
Okay. I'll look at Mark and be like, how about we soon take these two back to where they're from after we've collected our debt?
Reed kind of lifts... Yeah. Reed kind of also lifts his head up to that. He's like, well, I don't know if actually Pearlshaw will be the safest for me to go to. It is along the coast, and while it's not a shipping area, it is still a more direct route by some, or a faster route for some to get around the desert. And if any of the captains remember me, but are trying to gain favor elsewhere, that could be trouble for me. And he kind of looks over at George Stiles, who's honestly like pushing the tax records back and forth on the desk, but not actually like reading them through, and is also now paying more attention to you guys in the conversation.
Read and go.
He's like, I had spoke to him of maybe we'll head over towards Larton. They have a lake there, which is not, a boat place, but it's also a boat place where maybe he can get something else done there, but it's still under some debate.
Look at Mark and be like, if we could get him back to home, do you think your family could use a well-traversed man like him?
Probably. Has to get used to the coastline and all the routes, but he could probably fit in nicely.
You guys are from a mountain area. You're not close to water.
Yeah, but
but having a ship hand or a boat owner would be good.
Yeah, I just wanted to I want to remind geography. I was just reminding geography.
Yeah. I just relayed the map in my mind. I was like, we're in the mountains.
Of the party, of the half of the party that is actually from around coastline, it's not your half. It's the other half.
That's Twitch and I.
Which was just confusing, and I wanted to make sure I had the right party members and the right geographic location for their backstories.
Yeah.
My thought process is if the family got him set up with his own business, and just one boat, etc. Hey, look, go have fun, and we could always have a boat on hand whenever needed.
Plus, he knows trade routes and stuff like that. If needing onto land, he would have connections.
Mm-hmm.
So, it'd be beneficial for both.
Yeah. He will also speak up with this, as part of this will be in-house conversation. He goes, well, I'm familiar with the trade areas between Thalth as well as Ledecker, but not much further around than that.
I kind of expected that.
I'll look at him and be like, do you know a way to get to Thralth?
About several moons ago, yes, but that was before the arrest. That was what I was doing, was getting some people out that way. I still have I know some people, but I don't know if they'll actually take any chances anymore. And
if we can get you to the mainland, we can get you safe.
He kind of like nods at that, and he's like, I do know some people on Thalth itself that I could at least set up something there and be out of the kingdom's reach.
And I could probably also get you work.
Yeah. Our families always need more information. And that is something you have.
Trade routes are also very handy.
Are you going for persuasion or intimidation? Because I'm going to admit I'm not sure how that sounded right then.
I'm going with persuasion.
He's also just completely confused by this whole conversation.
Yeah, I'm going persuasion as well.
All right, you can roll persuasion.
Let's see. About average.
I was
Mine's
going for
not bad.
I was going for persuasion, but ended up sounding too mean.
That's like kind of how it came off at that point. He looks and he goes, well, "Thank you. I will consider your offer." But he's kind of like looking you down. You can see like a little worry in his face there.
Well, primarily, I'm just offering you work and a boat.
I'm just offering you a safe place off this place. Out of the kingdom's reach. That is all. Take it, I leave it.
Giles, like, really looks up at this point and goes, and you guys can guarantee boats and passage off.
I can guarantee work once we get off, and a boat. I can help with a boat of getting off.
How?
Money talks.
Money talks, but the issue is that there are wanted posters for people against, like, what you're trying to do. Like, to take people out for extended visits. Boats, captains get fined, captains get arrested, captains get thrown into the Black Keep.
Only if they come back.
Only if they come back, but many of the boats also travel with guards. Just want you to know, especially if you're not as accustomed to our crappy customs. He thinks about what he said for a moment, just kind of shakes his own head. That this is part of why it sucks being here, is they do a decent amount of work to keep people here, knowing that we would just leave if we could. Just
How
warning
many
you.
guards would you say is on a good-sized boat?
I don't actually know because I don't work with them. And then, like, turns over and Reed says, for a boat that is heading to the Decker would be closer to a larger 30-man boat. But Thulth is a distance, but not terrible that it only takes a few days' travel. It can be done with a smaller crew.
Okay, is that how many guards there are, or just people needed to man it?
Oh, no, that's just people needed to man it for a full time. Guards on a boat, it is a small enough that mutinies are not unheard of, that things have happened, but then it also increases pressure on those that are here. It is most of the time you don't have all of your boats out or all of your assets away from the kingdom, that they... If it was a gambling house, they have stacked the deck in their favor to at least cause questionable damage for people trying to leave.
Yeah,
Again, not uncommon and not unheard of, but you still have to find people willing to help.
yeah, I want to see what I can do about the whole stacked against us thing.
Giles, like, nods to that and he goes, that's what most of the time we're trying to do.
Well, look to Isabella. Let's see what we can add into the mix, shall we?
Certainly.
Giles takes, like, a deep breath.
I'll just ruffle up Nate's hair and be like, just sit tight just a little bit longer.
And I brought you a new game.
He holds up his hand for the deck of cards that you were already handing out to him before.
I'm going to show him Solitaire and...
Yeah.
The classics.
The classics. Solitaire,
The simple part,
Pyramid, Free Cell. I got this here.
So. And here's what you do here. Go.
Yep.
Training montage.
That does not take up too much time of your morning.
I'll look at Giles and be like, got any extra work while we try to figure out how we want to proceed?
He, like, raises an eyebrow here and there and be like, wait, are you guys offering?
At least I am.
Offering what?
To
You guys started talking shop, and Vanessa zoned out the whole time. Because she's like, I have no idea what you're all talking about, so I pay attention.
You go back to a book.
I don't have any more books to read.
Did you not ask for the one back?
Nope.
No.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Well,
I can
she has to
also give you
remember.
mine. I've got a spare one.
That's right. Twitch was offering the Shattered Mountains.
Which was.
The one on the God Wards?
She would be interested in reading that. if you wanted to read Tales of the Tundra, we just trade books back and forth.
Yeah, I don't think I'm done with the Bloody Path to Glory yet.
You're almost done. Your book was a little bit thicker, harder to read. You were falling asleep during part of it, so you had to reread things. And it was just a little longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But almost.
Mine was a fun book of stories. Yours was history.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if you're offering a book, she probably would have like.
Yeah.
She probably would have like stood there scuffing her toe, going, "I don't have any more books to read," and you'd have been like, "Here."
So instead, you have opened up the front cover, standing there while they were talking around you, and finally lifted your head to be like, "Wait, what were you guys talking about?"
What's going on? She just wants to explore the abandoned farm right now.
What kind of jobs did you happen to have laying around?
Well, give me a little bit, and I could pull something together for you. Like, would just be a bunch of talking to people. I don't have anything cow killing.
That was fun.
We can do things on top of what we can do with that. So, I'm not particularly worried.
Give me the rest of the day, and I'll pull some things that I can't do right now because I'm here. And if you come back tonight, sure. Again, I'm really not used to people volunteering here.
No one is.
Just let us know when is a good time to go see Pearlshaw. That way we can go. Let Nate less be confined.
Oh, you don't, have to go to Pearlshaw. Pearlshaw is just, people move away from Pearlshaw. That's just if you want to go, but...
That's why we're all from Pearlshaw.
Yeah.
A good suggestion of where he should be. I assume here is not the best place for him.
Sooner or later, he shouldn't stay in the place where there's a prison.
Honestly, I was planning on taking him with us.
That's between all of you. Certainly not up to me. I do not actually control Nate. I just give suggestions and, again, technically kidnapped him from a cell, but he would have been stuck in a cell if not, so you know.
Understandable.
But, yeah. Nate kind of looks like, if I say yes, can I go now?
No, we still have some unfinished business here.
He starts laying down more cards.
There's still that bell that's been raised about prisoners escaping. You don't want to go back since we're right next to the prison.
Yeah.
It'd be a very short trip.
Yeah.
That really wouldn't be fun.
No. Flips another card over. Does not match up, so he flips another card over.
Okay. So apparently there's a abandoned spooky farmhouse. I look over at Twitch and Renessa.
Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys head out. Back
Together.
Yay. Head back out towards what you have now read about, that one of the Knoll attacked farms just never really recovered and thus was abandoned and left. Heading, as you go by, you do head past the Mallard farm. You can kind of see off in the distance, and they haven't... In that land of, because you know that they're there, you look over towards them, that I don't want to know, it was just typed. I can just hear the typing, and I can't see the windows.
Just another name for our group.
Oh. Good. Yep, that's just what I hear. That, because you know it's there, you look over towards and can see the Mallard farm, and you can see red cows out and about. You can see a person moving in and out of them, though you can't really tell because you're not close enough just who it is out that way. But you keep going down, head past a few other farms. You pass the Chusen farm where you can also see the halflings are kind of off in their garden area doing their...
Wait, we're past farms. Vanessa's gonna no, those are not ones that were listed on her notes. She's gonna start looking for signs for the farms that were listed in her notes, which were the Chusen, Belridge, and Thatcher farm.
Well, technically the Chusen was mentioned, and that was the... Renessa was not there for it, but it was when Isabella, Twitch, and Mark went to try to go talk to them, and it turned into a little bit of a...
Good call, I don't like you.
That was honestly how the conversation went and how they described it to you.
Basically. Going past the Mallet farm, I would have looked to see if there was someone out. And if they were, just, hey.
There's also the Connards. That I have in my notes.
Why does that sound like a pudding?
Why it sounds like a pudding?
I have no idea.
I'm weird, so, I mean...
That's what... I had down that the other two that you made extra mention of was the Belridge and the Thatcher.
Yeah, because in my notes, it says Knowles attacked 7 years ago, no pattern in records. Chusen, who reported cattle lost last year due to attacks. Connards also lost cows to attacks. 8 farms with null issues, 3 farms with the possibility of having higher than average attacks, which were the Chusen, Belridge, and Thatcher. So, I don't remember the context around Connards, but that's in my notes.
That's what we'll watch the VOD about later.
Smart idea.
But yeah, so you do pass the Chusen farm, so you see them.
Makes note.
Okay. You continue on for a little bit, getting here and there for another farm in the way, and you do see a sign for Thatcher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it is quite a distance away before you see anything for Belridge.
Okay.
But as like you're passing all of these places, you honestly like everywhere seems to have people out and about. You're not really sure where this abandoned farm is. You start seeing like various names starting to pop up. The Halwicks, the Connors is one of them that pops up at one point. The Felderwinds, the Moustons. But as you kind of like go through all of them, you're not seeing any of this Talton that you saw mention of. Glaswalds, go by another.
After probably an hour of us just wandering around, I'll look at Renessa and be like, are we lost?
Points at Twitch. Asks. She found it.
I'll just walk up toward, at that point, if they don't know exactly where we are, I'll walk up.
I know exactly where we are. We're right here.
Where is here?
In the farms.
Yeah.
I will start walking up towards
What we don't know is where we're going.
I'll be like, what was the name of that farm we're looking for?
I think if we just say abandoned farm, they'll know.
Yes.
But Tolton?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe.
I'm gonna go with her, just go up and knock on a door.
There are also enough people that are just kind of in the area doing their jobs. I mean, you have now passed by many cattle farms as well as a few more crop farms that you see people are growing.
I thought it was going to be another type of animal farm because I would have got
I guess
chickens.
I'll stop someone and ask for directions to the Tolton farm.
That's what I was going to do. Go to her farm and ask for.
Let's see if you guys get kind of bad directions from the person who is very sure of where you need to go for it, and you like follow these directions all the way through and you get that way, and then you just end up at the Mouseton farm, where you see that there are some other halflings, and you go up and ask them like what's going on, and they're saying, no, of course, like that's not us. They must have given you the wrong name. So they recommend that you go over to the Tallow farm, and then you follow that for a bit and find out that no, that was also not the name of where you were supposed to be going.
Oh my gosh.
That as you're walking around for a bit, what you really end up back at is the Mallard farm.
I was going to say, I'm about ready to walk back to the Mallard farm and ask them if they know anything about the abandoned farm and where to go.
Do we also happen to have a map of the city? Like, not one that you've drawn or anything, you guard in general.
No.
No.
The only map that you have of the area is the one that you're on. Otherwise, that is it.
Okay.
Map in our mind.
Yeah.
Because if we had, like, a mental map, if you will, I was gonna do, like, okay, where the hell is this? I would try to figure it out.
You've at least mental mapped out this little area of the Tucson and Mallards pretty well now, because you've walked through it a couple times. But beyond that, like, it's just this weird mix of like farms, like, and that spreading. They're near enough to each other, but they're also just far enough away.
Mm-hmm.
I'll walk up and see if I can find Frederick.
Okay. Yeah, you start walking up, and as you do, you can see that there is one of the twins that's there that, like, sees you kind of like, again, you are an imposing looking team between wow, I almost said Khajiit, and I was like, no, wait, I'm in the wrong system for that.
Close enough.
Where you see a Khajiit, a funny looking elf, a stranger looking elf. Exotic. The term exotic pops up. There we go. As well as a pole arm carrying fighter. And this time you're able to kind of catch attention as there's a bit of waving. That whichever of the twins it is waves and then seems to rush off towards the barn area.
Mm.
And as you're approaching, and a few moments later, you see that has grabbed the farmer mallard and is heading in your direction. Like, all of them are just coming out.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
I'll just wait and meet up. Only meet up.
I was going to say, yeah.
Any more deaths?
No, we didn't have any issues last night.
Good.
Oh, but the pattern is every other night. And if we were there 2 nights ago, there might be issue tonight.
Yes.
He looks shocked and concerned by this sudden revelation that you've put in front of him. Is there a worry then, or?
We're just we heard there's an abandoned farm around here, and none of the others seem to know where the farm is.
Mm-hmm.
We were just trying to make sure we get to the source of this problem, and the abandoned farm was kind of on our radar.
He like stops and like thinks a little bit. Do you know? Just gonna make a base roll.
Roll well.
He rolled better. He rolled much better than that 4. Well, there was a halfling family that I know left their farm area. They were more unliked than here because they are a bit deeper into the tundra. So perhaps that was it.
Possibly.
Didn't you find Twitch that it was abandoned after the Knoll attack 7 years ago?
Yeah.
He kind of stops and really thinks it through, and he goes, "Then I don't think it was that one. Then there is. I do know that there was a family, a different halfling family. Halflings are a little popular in the farming areas, that lived a little northeast but was still outside of the tundra, that I think that they lost several family members, so afterwards they moved elsewhere.
Okay.
So it could probably be that one. I can help you a bit in that direction then.
That'd be awesome.
You guys get better directions.
Yay. I did make a note of the abandoned farm in the tundra.
There you go.
That's... Do we want to go for the one in the tundra or the...
Let's go for the abandoned one with the Knoll attacks first to finish rolling, finish gathering that information.
But I am happy you are here. Do you mind waiting a moment?
Sure.
Okay.
Frederick was running into the house to grab something that I was able to...
Earthquake.
Whoa.
I may have just kicked my entire desk. Don't mind me. I forget my own strength sometimes. Also, ow.
You rolled an 18.
Are you okay?
Yes.
She was expecting rolling a 15. She just nat 20.
Yeah. I don't know what fell off either. So we'll find out later.
At least it wasn't the camera that fell.
I think the nat 20 would have just destroyed the desk. I think it would have been closer to a 17 or an 18.
Oh, that would be sad. This is a relatively new desk. Anywho.
She's nat 20 the last one.
No, that one was just old. But, and falling apart. Anywho. Yeah, after waiting just a moment or two, you see that Leonard kind of runs out and he has a small little parcel pulled together that he hands over to his father, who then turns to you guys and goes, I understand it wouldn't be much, but you guys still most likely saved our lives in a small amount that I pulled together a little bit and would like to have a gift for you. He hands it out to kind of who's ever in the front. So it's between Isabella and Renessa, as they were the two who were
if you reach out first, she just kind of would stand there and just watch the parcel. Because she's curious.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of she would probably she would say thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would accept it and be thank you. This is very kind.
Well, thank you. I'm now, again, concerned after you have mentioned a pattern that we will prepare tonight in case there is anything and
if anything happens, just talk to the barkeep at the Red Udder. That is where we are currently staying at the moment.
I'll do that.
Out of character, he's the one that mentioned the pattern to us.
Yeah.
He mentioned the pattern to you. He didn't register that it was a pattern.
Obviously.
They just happen every other night, and then we're just oh yeah, pattern every other night. So tonight there might be something. So I don't know. Renessa probably would say something along the lines of, wanted we could spend the night here again to see if anything happens, to ensure this isn't every other night pattern. Would then look at the rest of the group.
I was thinking the same thing.
I'm okay with that.
Same.
Looks to the farmers.
We will be very happy to accept to have you for the night, and I will have food again for you.
Not necessary, but appreciated.
We will be back later tonight.
Thank you.
We're going to make sure we can find this place.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to abandon those that we've helped. So.
I'll look to the group and be like, does anybody... Actually, before I say anything, let me check something.
Look at notes.
Well, I'm just...
Review.
I'm trying to... Because I know I can telepathically communicate within 100 feet of my find familiar. But I don't know if it has to stay within that 100 feet, or if I just can't communicate outside of that range.
It is. Let me grab the book again.
I think it's a mile range.
It's also slightly up to DM discretion.
Yeah, that's...
So, let me reread the spell again.
I could also give them a whistle.
Find
What?
traps.
Whistler.
Familiar.
They have bows, don't they?
They do have bows, yes. Well, they have... You've seen a crossbow. You're unsure a little bit about, like, bows.
Also, we may be out of range for a whistle arrow.
I would just, you could just fire it towards town.
Well, we're not going to be at town. We're going to be at the abandoned farm.
Oh, that's true.
Well, until later tonight.
But we'd come back here come nightfall.
Yeah.
Unless something keeps us there.
Yeah, last I checked, the plan was to go find this place. Okay, cool, we found it. Come back to the Mallet farm, stay the night, and then go back to the place.
You can communicate with your familiar when it's within 100 feet. And if you give it kind of like a programmed directive outside of it, it will fulfill that programmed directive. But that's it.
Okay. Because what I was thinking about doing was writing a note to Giles.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the whole carrier pigeon, like, give the note to my hawk, send it to the Red Udder so he could deliver the note, and then come back to me. Is what I was aiming for.
I just want to confirm you're not overstepping Animal Messenger to see if that still exists in this version.
I don't think it...
Animal Messenger, 2nd level spell.
If I can't do that, that's perfectly fine.
I'm going to say no at this moment because it's a 2nd level spell, which is Animal Messenger. It's in that land of, like, you could give it to it and send it off in that direction, but it's not going to... It's up for debate if it would know how to, like, get to the building of Giles. It could just drop the note in a more random location.
Which I was fine with that chance. Like, I was just taking a ballpark here. Hey, I got this cool thing. I want to try it.
Like, you could probably get it to the Red Udder, but you couldn't have it deliver it to someone.
That's kind of in the location it is right now.
Okay, that's fine.
So, you are welcome to try that. You feel relatively confident you can get the hawk to deliver to the Red Udder, but to a person, you're not positive with.
Well, my thought process is have it grip the note. Just, like, grip it. When it gets to the Red Udder, fly through, drop the note, and fly out.
It's again like how it's like where it's dropping this note.
Well, at that point it wouldn't matter. It's just drop. A bird dropped a thing. Why is there a thing?
Yeah.
And hope the bartender picks it up.
It's like I'm saying you can try that. It will also take your bird away for a couple hours.
Is that...
It takes you an hour to walk there and back. So for your bird to drop off and then come back would at least be an hour.
Okay, that's fine.
I was also estimating because then there's that little bit of you're going to be leaving or unless you're just waiting there for an hour for your bird to return. He'll know how to get back to you. It's just the distance thing. We're talking theater of the mind, distances and time. Roll with me here. I'm not trying to, like, destroy you. That's why it would take an hour and not 2.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So yeah, we're going to send that note and we're going to just go and hope he can find me.
Okay.
It doesn't die on the way.
Roll for me a D100.
Okay. I almost picked up my percentile dice.
Low is what you're hoping for.
Nope.
That is not low.
That is like the exact opposite of low.
Things are going to happen. What does your note say?
All it's going to say is, hello, Giles. We may not come in tonight. Just very broad.
Don't wait up for us.
Yeah, don't wait up for dinner for us. We won't be in tonight.
Okay.
So,
that works.
Nothing super specific. Just say, hey, heads up, we're not going to be in tonight.
No, we're just going to put the entire way of how to get to a secret hideout, that they're the escaped prisoners, the entire thing.
Hey, I don't judge what your alignments may or may not be.
Now, if I'm
Here I am thinking of ways of making that really subtle.
I have no idea what I put down for that. I don't think I put anything down.
Although I like how the first thing that pops into my head is Yoji can't make the date tonight.
WWGD. What would Giles do?
There you go.
Not make the date.
Oh.
Because then only the bartender will know. Probably.
I mean,
In the first place.
Did you guys tell him? Did we tell him the last time we weren't going to be back for a night?
No, but he was expecting us tonight to come back later.
Because he said he had jobs for us that he needed the day to find.
So. Alright. Abandoned farm.
Let's go.
Abandoned farm 1.
Abandoned farm number 1, which is northeast, not in the tundra.
Yet.
All right. Yes.
Well, the tundra is shrinking, not expanding.
Correct.
Okay, Liam, just question.
Answer.
Because I know with concentration,
Sorry.
I feel like whenever you lose concentration, you kind of feel the spell go away. My familiar just poofed out of existence because it died. Would I feel that or not? Or we shall see.
Let me... Hold on. 2 seconds. Rereading spell once again. Guys, this is the actual way that DMing works. We just keep stalling for time until hopefully you'll forget the question.
Excuse me.
You'll get a little bit of a ping off of it because then you'll know that you'll kind of have to like recast the spell. It won't just be like you can summon him again from air.
Okay.
But yeah, okay.
So I'll at least know if he dies. Good to know.
Yes, you will. You will have an idea if he suddenly is a poofed.
Poof.
2 seconds. Turn. All right. You guys travel for a bit following the Mallard's much more careful directions. Past the Bell Ridge. You, at one point, definitely walked by it, but you didn't recognize that it was abandoned farm because it was just far enough out of view from you and kind of behind some of the others. It looks like some of their area has been encroached upon by other farmers, which didn't really help with the situation either.
Yeah.
Oops. Nope. Don't select that. Don't select that. We'll deal with it. That you travel about and you come to... Whoops. This is not where you're at. Ignore. You see nothing. Totally everything is fine. Boop. There.
Say, what was that?
One of the other generic places that I've honestly created just in case you were like, I decide to go here. where you guys come across a building that is overgrown with just weeds and plants and ivy and whatnot. It is totally on the inside of the... It is not within the burnt tundra at all, so you don't see any of the weird grass that you're much more accustomed to with the Mallard farm. You get an idea that there was once a garden or patch of earth over this way that is just destroyed to time. It is overgrown. It's actually difficult to travel through. I just don't have my traditional difficult terrain tokens over there. And if you travel northward, you can see that there is the remains of a barn of some sort, as well as a well-looking small building. And while there is parts of a fence up this way, most of the fence is actually destroyed. That's up around the barn.
Okay.
No, I'm going to move forward.
Okay.
Can I investigate the barn?
Absolutely, you can go up to it.
I want to investigate the barn too.
The closer building is the house, the farther building is the barn.
The house.
Barn!
I was going to say, we'll trade. You get the barn, we'll take the house.
And once again, the party splits.
Hey, at
Well,
least
we're in the same area.
We're within shouting distance.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're within yelling distance.
I'm just laughing at the situation.
But I think...
Am I the only one at the barn? Well,
No, I'm going to the barn.
okay.
If I see you going off by yourself, I'm like, pairs.
me and Twitch can check out the house. It's fine.
All right.
Different pairs this time.
Yep. All right.
So we got the sneaky sneaks going to investigate the barn.
Yep.
And our melee fighters.
Together.
And magic user. Together. Anyway.
All right. We will start with...
with this.
We will start with Team House then. All right. Team House, when you get up to it, it is, again, a halfling-styled house, so it's a little short, especially for Twitch to be getting into. There's going to be some bending.
Okay.
But otherwise,
It's a house. There's always some bending.
Yeah. Otherwise, you see that the door itself is already just slightly partially cracked open. It doesn't look to be destroyed or anything, but it is damaged, at least through some wear and tear.
The door is ajar.
I'm going in.
Right. Yeah, it takes a slight kick. It's a little rusted, so it's a bit hard to move. Breaking into it, or just pushing it forward, you see that it is primarily one large room that has the remains of a kitchen to it. Certain things, just even if people packed up and moved, can't really go with them, which includes a stove that was once here. So it's got the bit of a chimney look to it as well. Otherwise, part of this house has a loft already built to it. So for you to, see the whole thing, you could actually, do a little jump up from where you are and, see the second part of the loft, but there is also a ladder for you to climb up.
DM,
Yes.
would I be able to see when they get inside the house?
As you're, approaching the barn? Yeah, pretty much.
Once he, gets inside, I'm going to use message and just go, boo!
To who?
To Mark.
Mark, can you please roll for me? 1 second while I think this all the way through.
Would that be wisdom?
I feel like it would be some sort of a save.
A will save, so a wisdom save.
To not be frightened.
Yeah, because...
Yeah, you
Well,
can.
or-
If you
or
can make a
recognize.
wisdom save for me, but with advantage because you know Isabella.
How about a 19?
You sigh just a little bit.
There goes your cookies for the night.
Fuck.
You were too far away to hear that part. Oh, no, wait, it's a whisper thing. Never mind. Message, you can reply to this message.
Yeah, it's 120 feet. So.
Yeah. Also, Twitch, for some reason, you're not getting cookies.
Okay.
You're both not getting cookies, and he's handing you a cookie. You're getting mixed signals from this guy.
Tossing knives at my feet.
I kicked a desk. Like,
I'm just gonna look around the house.
all right.
Perception, investigation.
Investigation from both of you. You can either have one of you do it with advantage, or you can both roll separately.
What's your investigation, Twitch?
+2.
You take an advantage.
Okay.
I have a +0.
Hey!
I don't know about
Yeah.
22.
That plus, super helpful. Or the
your
advantage,
first
super
crit?
helpful.
That's my first crit for tonight.
Yeah, I think
I've crit before.
I think they've had it before.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't 100% sure.
I crit the last roll of last game. I'm
That's
pretty
fair.
sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I did.
That was the Vanessa roll, if I recall correctly.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
It only counts as 1.
It still counts. Either way. Yeah, you start, like, going through the whole area. You see that, honestly, there's not very much in here. And you do, like, going through, you see a little bit of animal, like, detritus and droppings. But nothing is currently here. Nothing is destroying the area. Nothing is jumping out to scare you by yelling boo. You are, because of your height difference and the fact that you're basically leaning, you have a full happy view into this, like, little loft area. There's nothing really up here, and as you're just kind of, like, searching and pulling around, you do find that was part of one of this, like, wood rail that's on it, that you're able to pop a little bit of the top off of it. And when you, like, open it up and start looking into it, you find that there's a small satchel that has, as you jingle it around, some sort of coin.
Look inside.
Yeah, you look inside and just pour it out. There's a handful of gold and silver coins in it.
Cool.
Neat.
Congratulations.
Natural 20s.
Yeah, congratulations. You have 12 gold and 7 silver.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Split the gold evenly between Mark and I.
I'm okay with that.
Before I forget, at the Mallets we received a gift.
Yes.
I assume I opened it, and if it was money, I would have split it among.
Okay. It was not mentioned. I wasn't going to bring up that you have not opened your gift. But while you're walking, we'll retcon a little bit that while you're walking, you unfold it a little bit. And you do. You find inside that there is an almost identical money sort of pouch that Twitch has just found. That contains a total of 14 gold, 18 silver, and 8 copper. But on top of that, there's also 2 copper rings and a silver chain.
Okay, the silver one more time.
2 copper rings and a silver chain.
I was talking about the coin value.
18
Not
silver.
Okay, so I had 14, 18, and 8.
Correct.
I'm just double checking.
Nope, you were correct with all that.
Okay, I'll let you go. I'll just put it down where everybody gets in the chat below.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm done distributing it in my head.
The copper rings, like, just off the top look pretty basic, but the silver necklace is actually pretty nice.
Okay. Alright, sorry, you can continue.
Nope, you're fine. But otherwise, like, as you're investigating the rest of the place, you see that at one point that there was some heavy-looking furniture in a couple of areas that is not there anymore. that it looks like at times animals have squatted in here, but there's nothing currently. There's a little bit of an old wasp nest up in the corner of one of them, but not much else. Otherwise, this looks like a pretty empty sort of room.
Okay.
Does it look like there was anything like a scuffle or a rush?
No, not in here. It does not look like there's been any sort of major combative pushes and shoves. Not even with the natural 20 was anything really detected.
I figure I'd throw it in there just in case.
Yep.
It
That
looks
is
like
fair.
they packed up and left.
Yeah. That is much more what you get the idea from this one.
Okay. Then we will head out to the barn, I guess.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, we've got the barn team. You get over to it, and just right away you see that there are no doors on this thing. It was an easy walk-in, which is basically right where you're going. And it does also open up onto the other side to an equally open area that would be that way. Like, again, the doors are just missing.
Yeah.
There's also a bit of a loft here that is actually a little bit higher even than it was inside the house. But if there was a ladder to it, there is no ladder now. Otherwise, it is far smaller than what you were used to over at the Mallards. This is only holding a couple of cows.
There are cows in here?
No. That it would only be holding a couple of cows.
Okay.
Darn, I was hoping for fresh steak.
You gotta go back to the Mallards for that. You were offered.
Oh, I have a grappling hook and rope, so I can climb up there. Cool.
Are you just gonna go straight for it then?
Yeah, I'll go explore the loft.
Okay. What about Isabella?
Alright, now that I got that math done, I'm going to just scour. If she's going up, I'll stay down here and start looking around.
Okay. Can I get an investigation from you? And can I get a dex check from Isabella? Excuse me, Rednessa. I'm looking at the wrong person as I say it. Pardon, I apologize.
Dex check with that. So acrobatics
No, you can
or straight
also
dex
roll
check?
a nat 20 for also investigation. Wow.
Wow.
So roll for me a 20. Add your dex to
D20.
it. Yeah, a d20,
Okay.
and add your dex to it, and I will give you your proficiency bonus on this.
Okay, so like a saving throw. Cool. That's a +5 then.
Just so
Yeah.
you know, the reason I split it up that way is because that's how Isabella was split it.
I haven't looked at anything yet to make any comments about how parties split their loot. But, so Isabella, you start like scouring around. This is a dirt floor that was compressed down and everything. You're starting to look through. And here is where, as you're like going through things, to you, even though it was 7 years ago, everybody's rolling natural 20s now to compensate for the early rolls of tonight, that you feel like this was the area that there was a scuffle years ago. And you, with your keen practice eye on these sort of things, when you're over in one of the corners of the room, like, it's just out of the way where any elements could get to it, the sun's not even going to shine down on it, that you can see what you recognize as really, really old dried blood.
So something's gone down in here.
Yeah. That as you're also like looking around, really investigating the area and peeking through, you come across, to your complete other shock and surprise, that there is a like not well taken care of, pretty crappy now, probably not going to be worth very much, but you find that there's a short sword laying on the ground, like inside of the barn.
Okay.
And I rolled an 11 for that dex check of climbing up.
Don't worry, I'm coming over to you still. Meanwhile, and then you're checking out that catches your attention for a little bit, and you hear the grappling hook go up. It catches on something. Renessa pull a few times and go over. That you're making your way in a counterclockwise, around the entire place, and you get over, and you're just starting to look at the support beams for the loft when you realize that they're in terrible condition, and you hear Renessa's already just reached the top when you hear crunch. You can roll a dex save. Renessa, you will take the falling damage.
Am I close enough to go and catch her?
No, because this was going on while you guys were in the other area.
While you guys are inside the house?
Yep.
So, do I make a save at all?
No, you kind of fell for the trap.
I got caught by surprise.
Yep.
Maybe you should get the feet alert.
Nah.
Nope, that's
I
not
like
how
the idea that we exit out of the house just to hear crash from the barn.
That below, Isabella starts to feel some debris falling on her, takes a slight cut to the side, where you will take 3 damage from it. But you were just caught up, as the whole thing thuds. You thud down, a couple of the splinters and everything fall on you. You take 6 damage.
I take 6 damage.
I rolled almost max. Sorry about that.
So far, a barn is better at killing us than skeletons.
I think, isn't this the first time I've taken damage since we started?
It could possibly be. You definitely didn't take any damage in the last fight. Your party did really good keeping you out of the way. So yeah, just as...
I'm just a klutz.
So just as Twitch and Mark are leaving, you hear crunch, crunch.
At which point, I'm gonna run over.
Same.
And I'm going, oh, fuck.
And all Mark can hear in his head is I'm subconsciously, since message is at will, all I hear is just fuck out.
You twist your ankle a little bit. You've got dust on you.
I'm just gonna lie there in the middle of debris going, seriously. Just stare up at this. Do I see anything?
You took down a part of the roof in that too, so yeah, you can see the sky.
I'm just gonna stare at the sky now.
There's a happy little cloud going by. It's now out of range a little bit. Oh, but another happy little cloud's coming in.
Are you guys okay?
Reach out a hand to you, help you up if you want to.
I mean, if Twitch comes running in the doorway, she would probably still lying there, just kind of look over and be like, yeah.
Okay.
Would probably then sit up and look at, the damage that's now around. Did it knock anything down that was sitting up there?
Besides the roof?
Besides me?
Well, you've made a good enough, destruction. Would you like to roll an investigation to go through the debris?
I would like to go through the debris that I have made.
Okay.
I'm gonna start brushing Isabella off.
I rolled a 14 for that investigation.
I was gonna say, once I'm clean, can I start helping?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't even bother cleaning myself off. There's splinters of wooden hair and armor and whatnot. I don't care.
She, you've never seen her smile and giggle so much knowing that she just took, falling damage. She's got, not a black eye, but a good bruise on the side of her face there.
I made a hole. She is giggling at her own klutziness, basically, because that's what she sees it as.
Yeah, but as you start going through, you find that, part of the reason it hurts so much is there was some really rusty, old, a bucket that had also fallen on you. That there was a equally rusty and terrible conditions, small one.
Scythe?
No, scythe is the big one. Sickle is the small one. That's what I had to do. Sickle that had also fallen, so that's also kind of there. Yeah. Scythe, sickle, small.
Sickle.
Okay, we're good. That had also fallen down, which was in the way. You find that there was like a curry comb that's actually in decent condition still because it seems to be made of some sort of like bonish material.
Okay,
So at least got that.
Pocket that. Did you say a curry comb, like for cleaning fur, like of horses and cows and such?
The actual bristles on it are pretty well destroyed, but the handle's still in pretty good condition.
Okay. Curry comb made from bone, found in rubble from barn I destroyed. Basically.
Does Isabella have mending?
I'm not sure what that look from Isabella means, so...
No, it looks like she doesn't have mending.
No.
Okay.
Also, to be fair, we've now bypassed mending on the building.
I was thinking on the scythe, or sickle.
Gotcha.
I was talking about it. I was like, should I? You're like, no, we can use other things. So I chose other things.
Okay.
Blame Renessa.
So apparently you're the Shaggy of the group.
The what?
The Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Oh.
Kind of a klutz, but finds everything.
Zoinks.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm the one with the pet.
The irony.
I'll change this momentarily.
Yeah.
I'm walking out towards the field, or the fenced in where the animals would be.
Yeah.
Once I know better, I'm heading this way.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep rummaging.
I'll help you.
Alright. Yeah, looking out, Isabella, out into the field right away, you can see, like, that there's the remains of a fence, but most of it is pretty well destroyed, and you can even see that one of the other farms has, like, backed into where this was once a field, that they've kind of taken over part of the area. Ah, thank you to someone for something.
Sicko just joined the party, so welcome to the party.
Welcome to the party.
I wonder if they have a sickle.
That'd be funny.
No, sicko, not sickle.
But the irony was there and perfectly timed.
True.
True. You can see that some of the other farms of another farm in the area has, like, if you're comparing this to the size of the mallard area that they had, is way too small now. That someone must have, like, cut in a bit.
Okay. What I'm just checking for is I want to start looking for, see if there may be any. I highly doubt if there's going to be any heavy tracks or anything of what could have caused inside there with the blood.
Roll survival. Meanwhile, what is Mark doing?
I'm gonna see if there's anything left from what happened. Any large holes that shouldn't be part of a farm, sort of thing.
I gotcha. Can I get a perception from you?
Nope. I find grass.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So your rolls tonight.
Isabella, you are, like, looking around, trying to keep an eye out. You just don't see anything that's anything obvious for a tract. Even, like, in front of the barn, which, comparing it to the mallards, like directly in front of where the door would be tends to get beaten down a bit more because animals are just constantly walking on it. It's just overgrown with grass now. So anything from back then is just gone at that point.
I figured it was going to be a high possibility of no.
Yeah.
It was worth the shot. Like, if a giant or something came through here and it was big and deep, it would have made big.
Yeah. There's nothing obvious for... There's no dragon tracks. There's no giant tracks. There's no giant tunnels. There's no scorched earth or anything of the obvious sort.
Yeah, I was just literally looking for anything super obvious.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you start investigating this area over here by the fields. You don't see anything particularly, like, big and hole-ish, but the brambles in this area have taken over that you're just a little bit stuck in it for a while and walking through, and didn't realize how quickly it would become, like, slightly difficult terrain over here because it's not marked off.
But sudden, inevitable betrayal.
Yep. You're just, like, tromping around a little bit and getting through, but also muttering under your breath about it.
At your point, just take out the glaive and start cutting.
Just pruning the lawn.
Yep. Can I get... And then Twitch came to help join the investigations. I'll take a investigation from Twitch as well.
Should I roll again or just keep my old one?
Just keep your old one.
Okay. Because she'll continue looking at that, but
Yeah.
she probably would look more towards actual, like...
7?
Animal stuff.
Looking through, you did also slightly destroy a good chunk of this area now. That you just don't see anything that's an obvious animal. Nothing recent, nothing sticking out.
Keep looking around and then, like, plucking splinters out of Renessa.
Yeah.
Like when you find, like, pet hair on, like, your friend's jacket while you stand behind them and you're kind of like...
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, with the currycomb, would she recognize the bone it's made from?
Roll on knowledge nature. I know it's not called knowledge nature. It's just called nature, but I'm sorry. I'm stuck with old terminology. Roll
It's
nature.
a knowledge nature check. That's basically what it is.
I came from Pathfinder, I understand.
So many
Same.
systems.
I got a 6.
You are sure it's bone, and that it probably came from an animal,
But that's it.
but that's about
That's cool.
it. It's not particularly... It's got just the faintest sign of, like, engraving marks to it, but you can't tell any, like, picture to it. It got that muddled look. You don't know if it's from where or age or anything.
Mhm.
It's just not a clear
Cool.
picture.
But yeah, she'd pocket that, then if there's nothing else in here to find, then she'd probably go out into the field to see what the others are doing.
Okay.
While admiring the giant hole in the roof now.
Towards the Mark Fields or the Isabella North Fields?
I think north personally.
Oh, can I unbury the grappling hook?
Yeah, that has been collected and retrieved.
Okay.
That was part of what hit you in the head as you went down.
Oh man, that's why I have the bruise on my face.
Yeah.
Insult to injury.
Hey,
Ow.
I'm glad she didn't kick the bucket.
No, the bucket hit me instead. The bucket kicked me.
Hey, think about it this way. Renessa fought a barn and won.
Did she, though?
I don't know. I would like to think that it was a tie.
I think it was a tie because it's still standing. The majority of it's still standing.
But which
It has
the
some
bigger
damage. I
Technically,
have
the
a
barn.
bruise.
Technically, the barn has a bigger hole.
I just have a bruise.
Yep.
It's a little hook shaped.
It's just probably hear all the geek.
All right, which way were you guys leaving from the barn?
Well, since Runessa does, is better with handling animals and finding that stuff, she'd head up towards the fenced-in area.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a little nest and just start cloud gazing, because apparently I'm useless right now. So I'm gonna do something moderately useless.
So, were you taking out your glaive and cutting a swatch of stuff to go?
Just a nice little grass nest.
Yep. So you go over towards one of the larger bushy areas and pull out your glaive and just do a quick swoosh through to get everything. And as you do so, you hear ah! From the other side of the bush that your lovely fighter instinct stops you moments short as you look over and just a little bit out of range from where you're at. You see that, you have to look in now, but they're not moving as you see that there's two small human children kind of staring at you wide-eyed, shocked and surprised as this glaive was coming towards them.
Hello?
And that's where we'll end it for tonight.
We'll end it with Mark almost killing children.
It's a good time.
I didn't kill them.
I said almost.
Yet.
If they're evil, I may kill them. They have to be evil first. This is not Diablo 3, so I don't know for sure.
Yep. Well, thank you everybody for joining us this evening. I hope you enjoyed it and our lovely barn expedition. Again, if you would like to learn about any of our really awesome shows like Team Crossbones or Dungeon Dragons, we've got the Vampire the Masquerade games going on where we've got 2 of them during the week. One from the Sabat side, one from the Camarilla side. Please check out our Discord. You can find links for all of this stuff below, as well as up-to-date information by checking our Twitter. If you would like some awesome stuff like dice, please check out tabletoploot.com, one of our wonderful sponsors. If you like really amazing maps, please check out the Mistress of Maps, Devin Rue, at rueinc.com. And if you like clothing with wonderful geeky things for our shows on the Welcome to the Party site, then please check out sonerdwear.com, where if you use the promo code WELCOME, you can get 10% off your first purchase, because their stuff looks pretty awesome, got to say. Otherwise, I hope that everybody has a wonderful evening. We are still fully doing our scheduling. We're not good about keeping up in distant future scheduling. This is why you should keep a look on our Discord to know if we will have our next Occult Horizon game next week. I hope so, and if so, I hope to see you there.
I work next week.
We will have to talk about this, and if not, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.